Thanks, Adrian, and a very good evening from Oakwell. Two teams strongly fancied for League One promotion this season meet here in South Yorkshire. Look at the slipping Devante Cole, onside inside the area, through the goalkeeper's legs and in, and the Tykes lead.
Advances forward, now he puts a better looking ball in, header up at the far post, and Barnsley lead! It's Liam Kitchen who gets the header.
It might drop for Max Watters. Oh my goodness, Barnsley are back in front.
We get the right attitude tomorrow night and we just do more of what we did well on Saturday. It can be another opportunity for us.
And now Mason Clark's ball in, 3-0! Poku with a diving far post header. Nothing they can do about the next one. Chipped in towards Clark Harris, he heads it in.
They've lost a few players, brought some in, but no, it's a tough game. I'm sure they'll be one of the teams around trying to get promotion again. So yeah, again, it's another tough away game.
What a picture perfect evening it is live on Talksport 2 here at Oakwell, the home of Barnsley Football Club. The rolling South Yorkshire hills just away in the distance between the two stands to my immediate left hand side. Ummy and Danton, Neil Redfern is alongside me, former Barnsley player, well, Barnsley Hall of Fame inductee. You're one of the first in there in that particular Hall of Fame. We'll get to Neil in a minute. And Adrian Clark is alongside us as well. He's doing the updates for Talksport on this game this evening. But let me bring you the team news ahead of kick-off in around 20 minutes' time. Barnsley are unchanged from the 1-1 draw they got against Bristol Rovers on Saturday. There is a change to the bench, though. Adam Phillips is back from a 3-game ban. He was sent off in the playoff final defeat to Sheffield Wednesday. Amel de Javigny has just had his paperwork clear. The French defender who was playing in the French second division last season with Nîmes, he is cleared to be part of the Barnsley squad. He's on the bench. But the lineup is like this: Liam Roberts in goal for Barnsley, Jordan Williams, Casper Wapata and Liam Kitching in a back three, Barry Cotter, Herbie Kane, John Russell and Nicky Cadden in a midfield four, with Callum Stiles, a player much sought after it seems from other clubs, playing in behind Devante Cole and Max Watters. The bench then is Killip, De Javigny, Shaw, Lofthouse, Dallas, Phillips and Chapman. As for Peterborough, they've got two 1-0 wins so far, away at Reading and at home to Charlton. They make one change from the win against the Addicts. It's a return for Efron Mason-Clark, who had a slight hamstring strain the last couple of games, but he's straight back into the starting lineup. Ricky J. Jones drops to the bench. It's Nicholas Bilokapic in goal, Peter Kioso, whose birthday is today at right back, Robbie Edwards, Ramoni Critchlow and Harrison Burrows making up the rest of the back four. Hector Cipriano, who scored the winner against Charlton on Saturday, and Archie Collins are the two holders, and then Kwame Poku, Joel Randall and Efron Mason-Clark. In behind last season's joint top scorer in League One, Johnson Clark Harris. The Peterborough bench: Tally, Knight, de Havilland, Ajiboye, Jade Jones, Shimanga and Tomlinson. So let's say hello to Neil Redfern first. Evening to you, Redders.
Evening, Dance.
Always nice to be home, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is like home for me. You know, I mean, obviously I spent 8 years here and had some really successful times, so really looking forward to this game tonight.
And evening to Adrian Clark as well alongside us, who's doing the Talksport update. Adrian, the last time you and I were here together, we saw a cracker where Barnsley ended Sheffield Wednesday's unbeaten run, and we thought, well, they could be into the playoffs, and they were in the end.
Yeah, good evening. It was some night, wasn't it? A sellout here at Oakwell, a brilliant game of football. It just wasn't to be, was it, for Barnsley in the end? They ran them ever so close, didn't they, in the playoff final, Sheffield Wednesday? It was such a narrow margin, but here they find themselves back in League One, and look, they've started pretty well, certainly here at home anyway.
Well, let me ask you both about this one. I'll come to you first, Neil. When you look at Barnsley, the manager turnover here, it's not always their fault. They're not always sacking managers. A lot of their managers get spirited away, like Michael Duff going to Swansea. In fact, Simon Davey in 2009 was the last Tykes boss to complete 2 full seasons in charge. How on earth, Neil, do you keep the continuity of a football club when you're not in control of whether your manager sticks around or not?
Well, it becomes very difficult. There's no two ways about it. Obviously, Michael Duff had a fantastic season last season, and you know, obviously Barnsley just missed out in the playoff final against Sheffield Wednesday. But you know, this is a totally different season. It's a different team. You know, there's 2 or 3 mainstays that have gone from this Barnsley side. You know, there's new players that have come in. Got a new manager, Neil Collins, somebody I know well from my time at Leeds United. He's played centre back there for Simon Grayson's side, led the side well, captained the side as well. So always had that mind of going into management. But they seem to deal with this every year, this turnover of players and managers, and it doesn't seem to affect them. So I mean, it's massive credit to them as a football club.
And Adrian, when you look at Peterborough, Darren Ferguson in for his 4th stint as Peterborough manager. I imagine if he goes, then Darren Ferguson will be the favourite to replace him, won't he?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you wouldn't put it past a 5th or a 6th, would you? No doubt about that. But look, he's got himself a new look team this year, I've got to say. Lots of different faces. It's a little bit younger than it's been in previous campaigns. Look at the front guys, in particular the 2 wingers, Kwame Poku and Efron Mason-Clark. These are 2 real entertaining wide players that can do some damage, and I think that Barnsley will have to defend very well to keep them quiet tonight.
Adam Phillips is back from a 3-match ban, Neil, for Barnsley, but Neil Collins has resisted the temptation to shove him straight back in because, of course, he was a regular fixture last season. Fair play, give those who've started the season a chance to show him again.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they've had 2 decent results. Fantastic result against Port Vale at home, 7-0. The Barnsley faithful will be expecting that every week now, no doubt. And a decent point away at Bristol Rovers. So, the back lads have played the part in that. I think it's quite settled. I think it's a wise move from Neil Collins to keep a settled side so early in the season, and it's up for the lads that are out of it at the minute to try and fight and get back in.
Adrian, the one noticeable thing about Peterborough, the average age of the side that started against Reading was under 23, one of the youngest League One starting 11s ever. So there's not a great deal of experience in terms of lieutenants out there for Darren Ferguson to rely upon.
I think that's a good point. Jonathan Clark-Harris is the obvious one. He's been there and done it. He's obviously scored 27 goals in League One last season, 31 I think the last time that he played at this level. So he can be a leader within the group. It's interesting that Efron Mason-Clark, who's pretty young himself, is actually the captain. So yeah, they don't have a lot of miles on the clock, but that can be a positive, can't it? And we know that the model at Peterborough United for many seasons has been to develop and buy young prospects, improve them, and then ultimately sell them on to bigger clubs for a profit. And it looks to me as if they've got a few coming through the ranks again.
Indeed we do. It's always strange, isn't it, gents, when you come to a football match and you're not putting your big coat on. We're in that strange sort of purgatory area when we're not quite sure whether we underclub with the clothing or not. It's a beautiful evening in South Yorkshire. It's a beautiful evening, isn't it? Adrian, we'll let you go because you're off to do reports for Talksport this evening. Remember, Adrian is taking you around the grounds this evening on Talksport in League 1 and League 2. There's a full programme of fixtures in the 3rd and 4th tiers, and there's also a lot of football in the National League tonight. Most teams are playing in that, and Rangers against Servette in the Champions League. It is a busy night, Neil. When you look at the League One table, I think we all expected Bolton to go off at a canter, and indeed they have. Cambridge are probably the most surprising team to have got off to a 100% start under Mark Bonner.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Stevenage as well under Steve Evans have made a good start there up there. It's going to be interesting because all the ones that everybody's fancied are sort of in and amongst it from 10 upwards. We expected Portsmouth to be round about it, Derby County to be around about it as well, and they are, Exeter. So it's just panning out nicely, to be honest with you.
Well, let's find out with about quarter of an hour to kick off what the odds are with our friends at 888 Sport. And Will Gavin joins us to give us the latest odds ahead of kick-off. Evening to you, Will. What have you got for us?
Evening, gents. Yeah, a really exciting matchup tonight, and you were just talking about those teams that are going to be in and around contention this year. These are 2 of them who in the very early stages of bidding outright for promotion and to win this league are right up and in the mix. Peterborough 13-2 and Barnsley 15-2 to win League One outright, only behind Bolton and Derby in those stakes, and both sitting in and around the 2-1 mark to get promoted. So a lot of positivity about these 2 teams. Good start to the season for them as well. The home field advantage, though, is what is showing for Barnsley in terms of the odds. 11-10 they are tonight with 888 Sport to get the win. The draw is 12-5 and Peterborough sat in the same mark.
Thank you, Will. Most kind of you. Those were the latest odds thanks to 888 Sport. It's 18 plus. Gamble responsibly, please, and the website you need is begambleaware.org. So it's our live game tonight on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. Barnsley against Peterborough United. Kick-off in 15 minutes' time. But before kick-off, You will hear very shortly from both bosses, Neil Collins and Darren Ferguson, on the way on Talksport 2. Ian Danter and Neil Redfern with you at Oakwell in South Yorkshire, home of Barnsley, who are taking on Peterborough tonight. That's our live commentary here on your home of the EFL. Thank you for joining us. We're about 10 minutes away from kick-off here between the Tykes and the Posh. And Barnsley boss Neil Collins knows the EFL well from his playing days, but after his management move from the Tampa Bay Rowdies this summer to Oakwell, he's now getting reused to the busy schedule as a Football League manager, with another important game for his team tonight.
They've came thick and fast for us, I think, this week. When you look at the schedule, we knew it was going to be a difficult one. I think starting with Bristol Rovers, get a point. Now we've got Peterborough, who I think have a good stability and consistency following on from last year. Manager that's obviously been across this league and been successful. But again, just a good challenge for us. Good challenge for the players. And I think they've shown enough in the first two games that they can still win games, despite being a little bit short-handed. And if we get the right attitude tomorrow night and we just do more of what we did well on Saturday, can be another opportunity for us.
That's Neil Collins, the Barnsley manager, former teammate of Neil Redfern, who's alongside me here. Neil used to play with Neil Collins at Leeds United. Is it too early to work out what style of play Neil's trying to implement here, Redders?
I think if you look at the lineup, I think obviously they're a high pressing side. I think that's something that's a caveat at the football club. Whoever comes in, whoever manages the team, there's definitely a style of play as a blueprint. They like to play out from the back, they like to play through. That's a trait that's always been round Barnsley Football Club. Obviously the ultimate thing is winning football matches, and as they've started so far, they've made a fantastic start of it.
They have made a fantastic start. 7-0, remember, here against Port Vale on opening weekend. I think pretty much every effort went in for Barnsley that day. Devante Cole got a hat-trick, son of Andrew Cole, let's not forget. So the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree there, has it, Neil?
No, I mean, obviously a fantastic striker, his father, and it never surprises me that the sons of former players go on and become players, because whether you say it, you don't say it, it's they talk football all the time. I know from my experience with my father, who played, and you've almost got a dual role, a dad and a coach, and they do it from a distance, but they've always got an interest, and obviously Devante's, like you say, is off the same block, and he's finding the back of the net, which is really key.
Now, it's been a positive start for Darren Ferguson's Peterborough United this season. They have a 100% record, 2 1-0 wins against first Reading, and then Charlton. It's 3 wins from 3 in all competitions, of course, because they won in the Carabao Cup as well. But the posh boss wants his team to be more ruthless in front of goal.
I think at first half, looking back at the game, we could have been a bit braver with the ball, breaking the lines, and thought we controlled towards the last 15 minutes. The first half we certainly got on top and started creating some chances. But I think the players from each game they've played now, we've gone ahead. Even the Swindon game, we need to learn to be more ruthless and kill teams off. Once it's a 1-goal advantage, the other team's always in it. And but there was certain parts of our game a bit similar to Reading, I have to say, in terms of some good football. We dug out a result, some bits that we need to improve on, but no surprises for me at this stage of the season. I think there's more in there, I know there is, and it's just got to be over a longer period of time in games, really.
Darren Ferguson there, who knows as well as anybody what it's like to be manager of Peterborough United. It just started his 4th go at it. Actually, Neil Collins said of Peterborough, Neil Redfern, based on the history of the club and the history of the manager, they're not going to be too far away. If you finish ahead of Peterborough, you'll be in a good spot. Fair?
Yeah, I think he's bang on. And if you look at the history of Peterborough United, or recent history, they're a high scoring side. They do concede, they're playing exciting games. If you look at a lot of the results, they've scored goals, but they concede a lot, and I think Darren Ferguson will be actually really pleased with the fact they've not conceded in the league so far this season in the first 2 games, and they've got 6 points on the back of it. They've still found the back of the net, so there's a little bit of resilience in there that's not always been there in Peterborough sides of the past, but they've still got that free-flowing attacking style. You're always going to have chances of scoring goals with Big Johnson, Clark Harris up top, and they've got the craft in behind as well to create chances.
26 in League One last season.
Unbelievable.
Johnson Clark carried. Are you surprised he's still wearing the blue shirt?
I am, yeah, because I had Johnson at Rotherham, and it was a little bit raw. Young boy then, still a handful, still scored goals, in the Championship. I'm very surprised nobody's come back and took a chance on him, if I'm honest, at a higher level, because he's got all the credentials of a proven scorer.
Callum Styles could probably say the same for him in the Barnsley number 10 role. About a £2 million release clause for him. Somebody's more than likely to at least offer that before the end of the window, Neil.
Yeah, exactly, and he's another player that's established himself, in the AFL, and he's producing some really good performances. He's more of an attacking threat now under Neil Collins, playing in that 10 slot just in behind the front two. It must be a bit daunting for the manager, when there's players that are perhaps maybe going to go on to other clubs and they're in your team now and in your thinking. But I suppose it's modern day football now, and you've got to adjust. But these are the players that are catching the eye at the moment.
Full programme of matches in League One and League Two tonight. Bolton, Cambridge, Stevenage and Peterborough, and let's not forget Wigan, who did start on -8, but they've got a 100% record so far on -2 points. So there are 5 teams who've got a perfect record so far. Wycombe, Leyton Orient, Burton, Cheltenham, Reading and Northampton have all lost their opening 2, and Barnsley are amongst teams like Portsmouth, Exeter, Blackpool and Bristol Rovers, who are still unbeaten. It's a win and a draw for the Tykes, for example. In League 2, well, you've got Milton Keynes, Barrow and Gillingham, all with 100% records. Gillingham have also added Macaulay Bond to their strike force. He's just signed for Neil Harris's men. They're looking really good, Gillingham. We watched them a week ago, of course, for you live here on Talksport 2 when they knocked out Southampton in the EFL Cup. You've got Doncaster, Tranmere, Stockport and Colchester have all lost their opening games. Well, only one game in Colchester's case, because that got called off. Salford, Crawley, Mansfield, Crewe and AFC Wimbledon are all unbeaten. But I'll keep you in touch with all the scores tonight, all the goals as they go in. They are underway in Switzerland. Servette 1, Rangers 2 is still the aggregate score. It's 0-0 at the moment, and we'll keep you updated if there are any changes. There are a lot of Champions League third round qualifying matches this evening, but the one that we're concentrating on is the one where Michael Beale's side have travelled to Switzerland. But that's already underway. They're waving the flags away to our left-hand side. The tunnel is at the corner of the Barry Murphy stand, the north stand here at Oakwell, which used to be an uncovered stand. And if you're a away fan, you bought your Pack-A-Mac, well, you bought 3 Pack-A-Macs just to make absolutely sure, because when it rains in this part of the world, it proper hoses it down. But the tunnel's in that corner away to our left-hand side. Actually, myself and Neil, we always say it, Neil, when we come here, but we do have a quite fantastic, perfect commentary position. We are right on the halfway line and pretty much right behind the dugouts, about 10-15 rows up from the dugouts. This is somewhere where you wouldn't mind sitting if you've got a touchline ban as a manager, is it?
Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm just the right height back as well, so you get the full panoramic view if you like. But I think you're right, Dan. I think this first division this time round is going to be really exciting. I think there's lots to play for.
Is it weaker, do you think, because of the strength of the teams that went up, like Plymouth, Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday?
I tell you what's credit to it and testament to it, the amount of players that have been cherry picked and moved on to higher level, by Championship clubs. I mean, we've just mentioned Callum Styles there, and obviously Liam Kitchen, another one that Coventry are looking at. And these are sides that are in the division above, so these players are really performing, and this is a level that Championship sides in particular feel they can come down and make a difference by signing them.
That's Neil Redfern you can hear alongside me. 338 appearances and 83 goals as a Barnsley player. I got that right, didn't I?
That's not bad, mate, that.
Because you knew.
I did know.
You knew if I get it wrong.
I would have pulled you up.
Good. So you should. You're not sitting far enough away from me for me to get it wrong. Otherwise, get a thump in the mouth off an offence. Here come the two teams then, led out by our referee this evening, Anthony Backhouse from Cumbria. It's his first year officiating at Championship level. He's officiated at League 1 and League 2 for a couple of years now. 125 yellow cards and just 1 red in all of last season for Anthony Backhouse. But the interesting thing is, as both these teams emerge, Barnsley and Peterborough top the booking count in League One so far. 9 bookings apiece across their 2 fixtures so far. So he could be a busy boy this evening, Anthony Backhouse.
I think, to be fair, with the new legislation as well, there's going to be more bookings, isn't there?
Yeah, it seems to be the way. Barnsley in their new strip, the red shirts that sort of fade into a graded white at the bottom, red shorts and socks with a white trim. Peterborough in blue shirts and shorts with white socks. It's the classic red against blue that you often get in a football match, as the Barnsley captain Liam Kitching leads his players down the line for the handshakes. Let me run you through the lineups once again. If you're just tuning in to Talksport 2 ahead of kick-off of this League One match between 2 undefeated sides, Barnsley unchanged from the draw at Bristol Rovers on Saturday. Liam Roberts in goal, Jordan Williams, Casper Wapata and Liam Kitching in a back 3. Barry Cotter, Herbie Kane, John Russell and Nicky Cadden are their midfield 4. Cadden scored the opener at the Memorial Stadium. Callum Stiles playing in behind Devante Cole and Max Watters. And then for Peterborough United, 1 change. Efren Mason-Clark is fit again and comes straight back into the starting lineup. It's Nicholas Bilokapic in goal, Peter Kioso, who's 24 today, Robbie Edwards, Romany Critchlow and Harrison Burrows in Posh's back 4. Hector Cipriano and Archie Collins are the midfield 2, and they're a very exciting front 4. Kwame Poku, Joel Randall, Efren Mason-Clark and Johnson Clark Harris. On the bench for Barnsley, Ben Killip is there as goalkeeper. Maël de Javigny has just had his paperwork cleared. He was at Ligue 2 Nîmes last season, but he's eligible and is on the bench. Ollie Shaw, Kieran Lofthouse, Andrew Dallas, Adam Phillips, who's back after suspension. He got sent off at Wembley, remember, in the playoff final against Sheffield Wednesday. And Theo Chapman. That's the Barnsley bench. The Peterborough bench, Finn Talley is their sub-keeper. They've had to draft a youngster in because Will Blackmore has a hip problem. Josh Knight, Ryan de Havilland, David Ajiboye, Ricky J. Jones, Kabongo Shimanga and Joe Tomlinson are the reserves for the Posh. A few last second instructions for the 2 strikers, Devante Cole and Max Watters, from their manager Neil Collins. But he was a centre-half.
It was. I mean, he was a good centre-half. I mean, he played in the Leeds United side that got promoted out of Division 1 under Simon Grayson and kept many a clean sheet. You know, I think he's done a fantastic job so far in a short space of time.
Just 39 years of age.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Appointed in July. We mentioned that he was in the American version of our championship with Tampa Bay Rowdies. Won Manager of the Year there back in 2021. And he'll be looking for a longer spell than many Barnsley managers get. But as we mentioned before, if you have to go back to 2009 for a Barnsley manager that completed 2 full seasons in charge, that was Simon Davey. Ready for the off then, here on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. Already Southend United lead in the National League this evening at Dorking Wanderers. 100% start for the Shrimpers, and Harry Carwell's given them a very early lead at Dorking in the National League. I'll keep you in touch with all the goals as they go in around the country. Adrian's taking around the grounds with our team of reporters on Talksport. But on Talksport 2 we are underway with Barnsley kicking towards the Barry Murphy stand, the stand to our left that the Peterborough fans are in. Peterborough in all blue kicking towards the Norman Remington stand to our immediate right hand side. Ball's played up to Mason Clark, who has to run back towards his own penalty area and guide it back to Bilokapic, the goalkeeper. His clearance headed straight up in the air by Kitching, and John Russell gets a touch. It's then steered out by Peterborough to the birthday boy Peter Kioso, on loan from Rotherham United, 24 years young today.
Just looking at how Barnsley set the stall out dance, and they're really high up the pitch, looking to press Peterborough every opportunity.
Yeah.
As soon as the wing backs jump, the outside centre backs jump as well. Every red shirt's nearly in Peterborough's half at this moment in time.
Well, foul on Johnson Clark-Harris inside his own half means that Peterborough have a free kick. Beautiful sunny evening, barely a cloud in the sky in this part of South Yorkshire. Hopefully it's the same wherever and however you're listening to Talksport 2 tonight, whether it's on DAB, on your smart speaker, on the app, on your phone. If you're out walking the dog, we'll keep you company with some live EFL action. Barnsley 0, Peterborough 0. We played a minute and a half at Oakwell. Peterborough have the ball at the back with Robbie Edwards finding Kiyoso. Poku comes back into his own half, but he's being closed down by Kitching, who just has a little nibble at him, and that's a free kick to Peterborough. And Poku wasn't too happy with the attention he got there from Liam Kitching. It's a free kick to the Posh, 0-0.
Yeah, it's a cheap one, isn't it, to be fair. I mean, it just stops the momentum of the press as well, because they've pressed them really well. They've kept the ball well, to be fair. Peterborough, they've moved it well on this slick surface. There's red shirts in contention everywhere you look.
It is an incredibly high line that Barnsley are playing, right up to the halfway line. They are inviting Peterborough to try and get in behind them over the top. Archie Collins just strokes the ball to his right to Kiyoso on halfway. Peterborough coming forward then, down this near side the right. Poku tries to flick the ball in field. It came off Nicky Cadden, but out to Kiyoso, who puts an early cross in. Clark-Harris tries to stoop for a header. Mason Clark tried to steer it goalwards. It's blocked out by the keeper. Terrific save. Comes back to Clark-Harris, and his low shot is saved at the near post once again by Liam Roberts. He's had to make two swift saves to keep it level at 0-0.
Yeah, great opportunities there. Both two opportunities. The second phase, the ball drops as well. It's a great effort to goal. Good save, to be fair. And Peterborough have good response from this Barnsley press, straight away into that Barnsley half on the counter-attack.
Mason Clark tried to stroke the ball in. He had plenty of space on the left-hand side of the Barnsley box.
I think I'd maybe look for venom there. Dance on this surface, it's been heavily watered. Anything struck hard and low on target's got a chance of going in.
Bolton lead against Fleetwood elsewhere in League One. Victor Adebayejo makes it Bolton 1, Fleetwood 0 at the Tough Sheet Stadium. I have to say that so carefully now. Thanks, sponsors. Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Liam Kitching, captain of Barnsley, a man in demand. You heard Neil Redfern mention it earlier. Coventry City have shown a great deal of interest in this young centre half, but for now he's still a Barnsley player. So is Callum Stiles, who's received the ball from Kitching. He fires the ball out to the right hand side for Jordan Williams. Williams looking for Barry Cotter to start a run. He's already been assisting goals this season. Strong run from Cotter down the right hand side. He's won a throw 10 yards from the corner flag, takes the throw quickly, and it's worked infield to John Russell, once of Huddersfield. Russell plays it up to the edge of the area, and a bit too cute a trick there. Sees the ball just bobble through to Nicholas Bilakapic. It's 0-0, and Shrewsbury have the lead against Burton Albion elsewhere in League One. That's Tom Bayliss with the opener for the Shrews. 0-0 here though, Neil Redfern.
Yeah, just going back to that last phase, and fantastic burst of pace by Barry Cotter. Real turn of pace, and to be fair to Burrows, he's up for the challenge, but that is a real outlet for Barnsley.
It's a real utility player, Harrison Burrows. He can play pretty much anywhere, but he's being utilised at left back. Bromley 0, Wilston 1 in the National League. Tavon Campbell with the early goal for the Raiders. 0-0 here at Oakwell. Ball's on halfway. Herbie Kane plays the ball into the feet of Callum Stiles. Good quick feet from him. Rolls it up to Watters. Watters gives it back to Stiles in the centre of the Peterborough half as they attack the Barry Murphy stand, Barnsley, in this first period. Here's Kitching again, sliding a neat ball infield to Kane. Kane, though, is dispossessed, and away comes Mason Clark for Peterborough. Drifts up towards the halfway line, then gets past the challenge of John Russell, but then he's dispossessed by Jordan Williams, who stood tall and won it back for the hosts.
Yeah, you can see the threat that Poco and Clark offer though for Peterborough. They really get the Blues, these blue Peterborough side, right up the pitch quickly. It's a problem for Barnsley on losses of possession. They've just got to make sure that they've got a good shape in behind the ball. Don't want to get caught out early on.
5 minutes gone on Talksport 2. It is Barnsley 0, Peterborough 0 in League One. Goals have gone in elsewhere, as we mentioned. Bolton looking to make it 3 wins out of 3. That's what Peterborough are trying to do. They last did that in 2018. And they won their first 5 that season, but ended up finishing 7th outside the playoffs at the end of the season in League 1 Peterborough. Wrexham have the lead against Walsall down in League 2. Will Boyle recently arrived from, I think it was Lincoln, where he was playing before. Got his first Wrexham goal then against the Saddlers, managed by Sadler.
It's a great story, isn't it? Wrexham.
Oh, well, I was there for the opening weekend against MK Dons, who went and beat them 5-2.
Yeah.
Sort of ruined the big day for them, but yes, it's an amazing tale. Now, Joel Randall striding forward down the left-hand side of the Barnsley box, putting Jordan Williams under pressure, but the Barnsley number 2 did superbly to clear his lines, but Ramoni Critchlow's header down only drops for Callum Stiles. Barnsley on a counter-attack. Stiles is fouled by Critchlow as he tried to release the ball centre of the Peterborough half, and it's a free kick to Barnsley at 0-0 with 7 minutes gone on Talksport 2.
Yeah, that's what Stiles is in for. Brilliant break. Picked that ball up in that 10 slot just in behind the 2 strikers, Cole and Watters, and I think he takes one for the team there. Critchlow is lucky to get away with it without getting a yellow card, because it was such a good break and they were outnumbered at one point there, Peterborough.
So a free kick then. Servette have scored against Rangers. It's 2-2 on aggregate. Derek Kutesa for Servette. So Servette 1, Rangers 0 on the night, 2-2 on aggregate, and Crewe lead Newport by goal to 0. Their former player Mickey Dimitriou comes back to haunt them. Left because they couldn't offer him a contract that was suitable to him in the summer. He's gone to Crewe and scored against his former employers. Now back here at Oakwell, Barnsley take a quick free kick. It's worked just to the left for Callum Stiles, back to the edge of the centre circle where it's controlled by Jordan Williams. He floats a ball out to the far right hand side. Barry Cotter did his best to try and keep it in play, but it was always drifting away from him, and it goes behind and out for a throw in to Peterborough.
I just couldn't see the sense of that dance. It was just rolled it square to his mate.
Yeah.
2 or 3 passes in front of Peterborough's back line.
Oh, ball into the area. There was a bit of a mix up at the back for Peterborough, and Devante Cole just couldn't profit from it. Neil Redford, 0-0.
That's a chance. That's a chance dance. I mean, that's a poor piece of defensive play across their own 6-yard box by Peterborough. It's a loose pass and he's onto it. And I think he's got to hit the target from there at least.
But it is merely a goal kick to Peterborough United. Gillingham lead at Sutton United. Ashley Naderson gets the opener for the Gills, who were equally impressive, and I watched them against Southampton last week in the EFL Cup. Here comes Callum Stiles, finds Devante Cole in the area, just slips as he tried to bring the ball down, wasn't caught by an opposing player, just trying to bring the ball out of the sky. Beautiful lofted pass from Callum Stiles, but Cole just lost his footing inside the area and couldn't get the shot away. 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, Callum Stiles is causing all sorts of problems in that 10 slot, just in behind Watters and Cole. And really, both Capriano and Collins, they've not really got to grips with him yet. He's got loads of space in there, just in that little pocket of space in behind the front two. Well,
Poku gives it away this time, but Callum Stiles can't hold on to it. The ball ricochets off the top of his boot and goes behind for a goal kick. It seems like Bilo Kapic, the goalkeeper's not keen to whack it downfield. He probably has instructions not to. He's got the 2 centre-halves in the 18-yard area with him, and they are trying to constantly play out from the back. As soon as I say that, Bilo Kapic looks like he's taken 4 or 5 paces away. Commentator's curse, hello, he's just whacked it downfield. Looking for Mason Clark.
To be fair though, I would say that's good play by the goalkeeper. You brought them on by encouraging them to press. You fiddled it out a couple of times, and now they're really high up the pitch, and if you look there on the back line, they're almost 3v3.
Yeah.
So that ball's got to go past the press.
Barnsley 0, Peterborough 0 on Talksport 2. We've played 10 minutes here on your home of the EFL. Long high ball up to halfway. It's headed down by Cipriano, who scored the winner against Charlton on Saturday for Peterborough. But Barnsley have it back. Nicky Cadden works the ball in field to John Russell. Tried to slide it up to the edge of the box. It might come back his way, but the ball's protected well by Cipriano. Poku inside his own half. Cipriano and Collins do well to try and keep hold of the ball, but then the slid pass up to halfway is intercepted by Stiles. Devante Cole up to the edge of the area. John Russell tries to get a shot in. Kioso just flies into a challenge, and the ball ricochets up in the air, makes it an easy save for the keeper. But Barnsley fans encouraged by the way they're taking the ball off Peterborough high up the pitch. 0-0.
Yeah, and they're trying to play intricate play through central areas, Peterborough, and they're bogged down in there because they're up for that challenge. You know, the man for man, Barnsley. Styles is having a field day in there in that 10 role, and Russell and Kane have really put the foot in and made it difficult for Peterborough. They've just got to be careful, particularly when you've got that sort of pace out wide, Peterborough.
Bit of head tennis on halfway. It's finally knocked down by Cipriano for Chioso in the right back position, but the ball's taken off his toe by Devante Cole, but he won't be able to keep the ball in play as it just snuck out of play on this near side for a throw to Peterborough. 0-0. York lead Altrincham in the National League. Dipo Akinyemi gets the opener for the Minster men. 0-0 here at Oakwell on your home of the EFL. 11 minutes gone. Here comes Joel Randall for Peterborough, looking for Mason Clark, scheming down the left hand side up against Jordan Williams. Swings across and it's headed out by Wapata, and Barnsley will clear their lines. It's touched down neatly by Watters into the centre of the half. Touched by Kitching, just lays it off to Russell, and the big number 5 has it back once more and finds the diminutive Styles inside his own half. Flicks the ball out to this near touchline right in front of the Barnsley dugout, where Nicky Cadden plays a 1-2 with Kitching. Kitching now has it back and plays a square ball to Wapata. Forest Green leads Swindon in what you might call a local derby. It's not that far from Nailsworth to Swindon in the West Country. Matt Stevens gets the opener for Forest Green. That's in League 2, remember. Now Barnsley trying to win the ball at the edge of the Peterborough penalty area. It's sent up to halfway by Archie Collins, but nobody in a blue shirt to collect it. And Peterborough just haven't got a real grip of the game quite yet, have they, Neil Redfern?
No, they've not. And if you look at Barnsley, the intent is there with how they've set up. You know, both Cotter and Cadden are really high up the pitch, offering the width. I mean, they're playing as wing backs, but they're almost like wingers. You know, they've got a front four up against this back four of Peterborough, and they're finding it difficult to get out. But it's a really interesting contest so far.
Now Devante Cole comes short for a moment. The ball's worked up to Stars. Lovely flick for Cole out to this left hand side, and Nicky Cadden approaching the corner of the penalty area. Tries to go on the outside of Chioso. Comes off Chioso and goes behind for Barnsley's first corner of the game. Over to our left hand side of the Barry Murphy stand end. 13 gone, 0-0.
Yeah, it's good defending from Peter Chioso in the end, because he tries to do him down the outside with a little feint there, Cadden, and he's wise to it.
Short corner worked into the area by Herbie Kane, headed up and out by Collins, back in towards the area by Wapata. It's a bit of head tennis, drops to the edge of the area, and John Russell with a snapshot, brilliantly saved by Bila Kapic to keep Peterborough level. Brilliant save, he held on to it as well, because John Russell cracked that very, very hard indeed at the edge of the box. 0-0.
Yeah, brilliant by Bila Kapic. I mean, he had no time to see that or weigh it up. It was just instincts, pure instincts. It's a fantastic strike by Russell, backing up from the edge of the box from midfield.
Once again, Peterborough giving the ball up inside their own half, but then Barnsley gets sloppy and give the ball away. And Johnson Clark-Harris rolls the ball back to his fullback Chioso. Bournemouth have a second against Fleetwood Town, and it's the second of the night for Victor Adebayo. Bolton 2, Fleetwood 0. Woking 0, Rochdale 1 in the National League tonight. Tyree Sinclair for Dale, and Wickham lead Leyton Orient in League 1. That's a goal for Joe Lowe at Adams Park. Here at Oakwell, we've got nearly 15 minutes on the clock on Talksport 2. Barnsley 0, Peterborough 0, but this opening quarter of an hour has all been about the industry and the high press of Barnsley, and Peterborough trying to play out and not quite finding their rhythm just yet. But you know what sort of talent Peterborough have, and here's one of their talented attacking players driving forward now. Kwame Poku works it up to the edge of the area, almost got it back from a back flick from Joel Randall. Lovely run from Kwame Poku, but the 1-2 just didn't come off for him. 0-0.
No, it didn't. It just shows you though, Dance, when you do break that press and you get these attacking threats, you know, of Clark, Poku and Randall on the ball in behind, they do look a threat, Peterborough.
In League 2, Crawley take the lead against Milton Keynes, one of the 100% records, MK Dons, but Nick Cerula has given Crawley the lead down at the People's Pension Stadium. Here's Peter Chioso for Peterborough at 0-0 with 15 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Poku, right hand side, swirls the ball into the area. Mason Clark heads down, good save on his goal line by Liam Roberts. On target from Mason Clark, stooping with the header at the far post. but Roberts holds on to it. 0-0. Another chance goes begging.
Yeah, another great chance. It's a decent header, to be fair, from Mason Clark, because it's curling is the cross as it comes in towards him. But I just looked at Neil Collins, and he's not happy at all with Jordan Williams on the right side of the back three.
Well, here come Peterborough again. They're creating chances. Even though they're not really having the lion's share of possession, they are creating chances. Remember, Liam Roberts had to make that double save early in the piece, and he's just had to make a save on his goal line to deny Mason Clark. It's 0-0 though. Good game.
Yeah, cracking game. I think Peterborough just starting to find their feet a little bit now, connecting passes, finding their threats just in behind that Barnsley midfield.
In terms of ball stats, I'm looking at it now, it says it's 50-50, which
it's interesting.
You
hasn't come across like that. No, it hasn't.
Here come Peterborough at 0-0. It's Harrison Burrows darting down the left-hand side, looking for Mason Clark, and he's cleaned out by Barry Cotter. Free kick. Pretty easy free kick for the referee to give, in actual fact.
Yeah, that's an old-fashioned freebie on a winger from a full-back, innit? Left him on the floor.
In fact, it's been given as a throw. It's not even been given as a free kick. It looked like a pretty hefty challenge from Barry Cotter, but the referee happy to let it go as nothing more than just a throw in to Peterborough. 0-0 the score. Here is Romilly Critchlow finding his centre-half partner. Ronnie Edwards, just 20. Nearing 100 appearances already, having joined from Barnet. Barnet have just gone 2-0 up at Eastleigh in the National League. Danny Collins with a second for the Bees. Well played by Mason Clark, getting Joel Randall away down the left-hand side for Peterborough United, level with the edge of the area. Works the ball back in field to Cipriano, early ball into the box, looking for Pockets. Back header from Kitching to get it out of harm's way, but Barnsley can't prevent the throw. Peterborough have it to our right-hand side, 0-0.
Yeah, growing into the game now, Peterborough. Look far more measured, very aware of that space on the outside of the back three, looking to attack that area with balls in the box.
Ball's back on halfway with Romilly Critchlow of Peterborough. Harrison Burrows finds Cipriano, tall, rangy midfielder, and Darren Fergus was talking about looking forward to working with Hector Cipriano more. He got the winner for him against Charlton at London Road at the weekend. He does look like he's got a good range of passing on him, Cipriano.
Yeah, I have to say I do like the look of Peterborough's midfield. Cipriano, Collins and Randall in that 10 slot. They're very, very gifted, very good at keeping possession and working the ball through in tight areas.
Second for Wrexham. They're 2-0 up on Walsall. And it's Ollie Palmer who's got it. Here comes Devante Cole for Barnsley, weaving his way into the box left hand side. Good sliding challenge from Kyoso, got it out of harm's way, and then Mason Clark spins away from John Russell and launches a Peterborough counter attack. Red shirts getting back. Good ball from Mason Clark to find Burrows on the left hand side. Clark Harris in the box, calling for a cross, trying to guide it down for a teammate. Randall's got his back to goal now for Peterborough. Mason Clark gets a foot in, and then anywhere will do for Wapata, and he just thumps it downfield for Barnsley, and Peterborough are growing in confidence at 0-0.
Yeah, really dangerous counter attack there from Peterborough. Pace, guile, got themselves in and around that Barnsley penalty area, but to be fair to Barnsley, they got bodies back quickly and snuffed out the threat.
Crewe 1, Newport 1. Will Evans equalises for Newport County at the Alexandra Stadium. 0-0 here on Talksport 2 with nearly 20 minutes gone at Oakwell on your home of the EFL. Barnsley 0, Peterborough 0, but both keepers have been tested in these early minutes. Grimsby 1, Salford 0. Abel Asa puts Grimsby ahead at Blundell Park. Long ball downfield for Peterborough, looking for Cipriano, who had broken the lines and come forward from midfield, but it just skipped away from him and through to the goalkeeper Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at that. I mean, that's a straight run from midfield. It's a straight ball, straight run, and they nearly get in there. And both Herbie Kane and John Russell, you know, they're looking at one another. Who's going to pick him up? You've got to be diligent and track from that area.
Barnsley with possession on the halfway line with Jordan Williams. High ball lofted down the right hand side. Watters just lets the ball run across his body because he knew that Romilly Critchlow got a touch, and he lets it go behind at the Barry Murphy end. It's a second quarter of the half to Barnsley at 0-0.
He just got wrong side there, didn't he, Romilly Critchlow, trying to pinch it, and the striker Watters got himself goal side, but managed to usher it out for a corner.
So Nicky Cadden's gone across to where the Barry Murphy stand meets the East stand at Oakwell. on the opposite side of the field to us. We're sat about 20 rows back from the dugouts in the main stand, the west stand. So it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from the Scot. In it comes, high, looping to the far post, over the goalkeeper's head, and it just avoided Wapata at the far post, who was trying to get in touch. Bila Kapic got right underneath it in the Peterborough goal as it swirled in from Nicky Cadden. Dangerous corner, but it's a goal kick.
Yeah, he didn't look happy at all there, Bila Kapic, to be fair. It's a fantastic ball in.
Now long ball downfield for Peterborough. Joe Randall giving chase, but very calmly dealt with by Jordan Williams, midway point of his own half. Turns away from Randall and finds Cotter just shy of the halfway line. Tucks it in field to Herbie Kane. Lincoln lead at Northampton in League One. Rico Hackett, Fairchild, once of Portsmouth, puts Lincoln ahead at Sixfields. And Walsall have a goal back at Wrexham. 2-1 there now to Wrexham. Chris Hussey for Walsall. Here in South Yorkshire, Cadden coming forward for Barnsley at 0-0. Gets to the midway point of the half, flicks it out to Devante Collins on the left wing for the moment. Infield to Styles, he lays it off to Russell. Kane calling for it in a bit of space in the centre of the half. Slides it out to Cotter on the right wing. Cotter's got Harrison Burrows for company. Just rolls his foot on the ball. Tries to jink on the outside of Burrows, then nutmegs him. Gets into the area, Cotter. Can he find a teammate? It's spilled by the keeper. It comes out to Cadden. Blocked wide. What a save! What a save! Bila Kapic to keep it at 0-0. Nicky Cadden felt certain he got 2 in 2 for Barnsley. But the Peterborough keeper made an instinctive save. He had other ideas. 0-0.
Wow, what an unbelievable phase of events. It's a fantastic world-class save from Bila Kapic. But it's great play by Cotter to come and dance his way in along the byline and put a really dangerous ball across the box.
It is though a corner, and Nicky Cadden's there again over on the far side where the Barry Murphy stand meets the east stand. Another left-footed in-swinger from Cadden. Russell at the near post. Another brilliant save, Bila Kapic. It looked for all the world as that was going to nestle in the back of the net as John Russell got up at the near post. But Bila Kapic flew across to his left and made another brilliant stop.
Well, there's 2 saves there he got no right to get to, Bila Kapic. I mean, really agile. I mean, both efforts struck first time, difficult for goalkeepers to adjust.
Well, he's an Australian, Nicholas Bila Kapic. Came to Huddersfield initially to play football in England back in 2020 during lockdown.
Bet they wish they kept him now.
Well, he came here for an undisclosed fee in July. Former Aussie under-17. He's supposed to be competing with Will Blackmore for the number 1 jersey. Blackmore's out with a hip problem, and Bila Kapic is staking a claim for Peterborough with saves like that. But here come Barnsley again at 0-0. Callum Styles in the area trying to get the ball onto his left foot. Simpler save for Bila Kapic that time, because it was a weak effort from the left boot of Callum Styles. But well, the atmosphere around here, it's bristling. Everyone really enjoying this game, and Barnsley having just weathered a bit of a storm from Peterborough in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Neil Redfern just went down the other end and could easily have had 2 goals.
Yeah, I think both sides can stake a claim for being pleased with how it's gone. Both have had the moments. I mean, that's a good play by Callum Styles. Really worked an angle brilliantly, but his shot's weak. But he's impressed me so far. It doesn't surprise me that bigger clubs are looking at him.
£2 million release clause for Callum Styles, the Barnsley number 20. He looks on as Max Watters tries to collect a ball down the left-hand side. Come to be dealt with by Ronnie Edwards. Bila Kapic, the goalkeeper, must be absolutely full of confidence after making those saves just a moment or so ago, the Aussie. And it's worked back to Harrison Burrows. Clips it up towards the halfway line. It's only halfway up to the halfway line before Barnsley want it back again. High press once more from the Tykes. Poku back inside his own defensive third, gives the ball to Peter Kioso, who couldn't clear his lines downfield. Almost landed on Neil Redfern's head, but not quite. He was going to nut it back. Yeah, first touch, right? With your glasses still on.
With my glasses on.
0-0 on Talksport 2. Cambridge 0, Stevenage 1. And Stevenage, one of 2 100% sides playing that game. Cambridge are also 2 from 2, but Jordan Roberts has given Stevenage the lead. And Tranmere have scored 2 quick goals against Harrogate. Tranmere 2, Harrogate 0. Luke Norris and Samuel Taylor for Tranmere. Here at Oakwell, we played 25 minutes that have absolutely flown by. Barnsley 0, Peterborough United 0 on your home of the EFL.
I agree with you here though, Dance. I think there's a case here for Peterborough to go a little bit longer. You know, they've basically pinned Barnsley's back three back with three up top. They've got real width. Balls out to Poku now. I think that's the way out for him.
Well, Poku can't get past halfway. Cadden stands in his way, so the ball goes back into the centre circle. Archie Collins for Peterborough gets his head up, looks for options. Nothing ahead of him, so he rolls it back to Critchlow. Now Edwards for Peterborough, centre half, plays it up to Kioso. Lovely first touch for Poku. Was he caught late, Kioso? No, says the referee. Poku still has it for Posh and just clips it over the halfway line to Harrison Burrows. He in turn slides it out to Efren Mason-Clark on the far side of the field in front of the east stand, hugging the left touchline. Oh, he does Barry Cotter there with a lovely turn. Crosses into the box looking for Clark Harris. It's half cleared and it's kept away from Peter Kioso by the backtracking Max Watters. Peterborough have a throw. It's 0-0.
Yeah, that's the threat. The two wide players, Poco and Clark, they're a real threat for Peterborough. They've got to get the ball to them quickly if they can.
Crawley 1, MK Dons 1. Mo Isa gets a equaliser for MK down there in Sussex. You're listening to Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Don't forget, after all the actions done tonight, why not test Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy's knowledge of the EFL on the full-time phone-in 03717 223344. Tell them how your team played tonight. It's 0-0 here. Smashing game. Joel Randall, heavy touch from him for Peterborough, but he still manages to keep possession. Archie Collins takes over. Burrows on the left wing, swings an early cross in from deep. It's headed out by Wapata. And Barnsley pick up the ball just shy of the halfway line with Herbie Kane. Driving up to the halfway line, then plays it left to Nicky Cadden, who I saw coming through at Forest Green Rovers. He was part of that promotion team that got up to League One, Nicky Cadden. And they were always going to have a few players spirited away from that squad. So good were Forest Green in that promotion season.
There's just little lulls in the game where both sides just take a breather in there. I mean, it's been so fast, so hectic, the pace.
Ooh, given away on halfway by Kitching, and Clark Harris will get to the loose ball first. He can't make a run directed on goal. Tucks it infield to Poku, but John Russell came back to snuff out the danger. But a slightly wayward clearance. Cotter has not kept it in play on the far side, so Peterborough have a throw. Very nearly caused themselves an issue there, Barnsley, but it stays 0-0.
Yeah, it was a tired pass in the end from Johnson Clark Harris. He must have sprinted a full 20-30 yards there to get himself on that ball, but his ball inside then was a little bit weak.
26 goals last season for Johnson Clark Harris, joint top scorer with Connor Chaplin of Ipswich Town in the League One listings, but yet to break his duck this season. Into the middle of midfield, Cipriano for Peterborough, finds Poku, slides it out to Kioso on this near touchline, midway point of the half. Back infield to Poku on his left foot. Again, he's being faced up this time by Herbie Kane, but he drives down the right hand side of the box. Poku fires it across to the far post. It won't reach Mason Clark. Cotter got a toe in to get it clear from danger, but it comes back to the blue shirts of Peterborough. And Harrison Burrows approaching the penalty box, left hand corner. Mason Clark out on the left wing. Lovely cross to the far post. Poku with the header, just wide of the post. Big chance for Kwame Poku, one of the smallest men on the field, but the cross from Mason Clark was right on his nut, and he put it just the wrong side of the post, and it stays 0-0. Goal kick to Barnsley.
Yeah, brilliant play by Mason Clark, twisting and turning out there on the left hand side, comes in on his right foot and curls it just to the back of the outside centre back in that back three of Barnsley. It's a problem for him either side of there, because that's where the chances are appearing for Peterborough. Just looking at Neil Collins now, he's shaking his head at his back line. Just got to be aware, open up, make sure they can see the runners as the ball's coming in the box.
Don't forget, tomorrow morning, Australia against England, the Lionesses, the Women's World Cup semi-final. Talksport 2 from 11 a.m. Faye Carruthers, Joe Shannon, Leanne Sanderson are your team, bringing you the whole game live. Spain await in Sunday's final. Good luck to the Lionesses in the morning. You'll hear it live on Talksport 2. And Friday night in the Premier League, a game you won't find on television, Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United. Hugh Woosencroft will be your presenter, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce the commentary team. at the City Ground. That's a 7:45 kick-off on Friday night, exclusive to Talksport. Meanwhile, Nicky Cadden's just won a corner for Barnsley, away to the left-hand side, as the cross was deflected out of Kioso. So Barnsley have their 4th corner of the half at 0-0.
Yeah, it's really apparent both Cotter and Cadden back one of those crosses up. Very aware of everything going out of the back stick. They keep the attacks alive, and good example of it there to force a corner for Barnsley.
So Herbie Kane just going across to where the main stand that we're sat in meets the Barry Murphy, or the North stand, away to our left-hand side in front of those Peterborough travelling supporters. Barnsley's corner. And he raises both arms, Herbie Kane. Right-footed, deep in-swinger to the far post, headed up and out by Cipriano. But first on the scene is Liam Kitching. Gets it back to Cotter, who drills an early cross in, headed out by Mason Clark for the Posh. But first on the scene then is Callum Stiles, so Barnsley keep possession. Cadden swirls a cross in, headed over his own crossbar by Ronnie Edwards. Had to deal with that, Robbie Edwards, because he didn't know what was behind him. Actually, it was a very good header, but it is another Barnsley corner, 0-0.
Yeah, great feint initially by Nicky Cadden. Just dropped his shoulder and went another yard, and then whipped an unbelievable ball in, and it's great defending by Ronnie Edwards, because you're right, he didn't know what was at the back of him. He's got to get something on it, so if he just leaves it, that might have been going on to a red shirt.
Servette 1, Rangers 0. It's a half-time score in the Champions League qualifiers. That's 2-2 on aggregate. Another corner to Barnsley, their 5th of the half at 0-0. On Talksport 2, another deep corner from Kane. Rising at the far post was Kitching, but it was straight into the arms of Bilakapic, and it stays 0-0.
Looks like it's going to have to be something really special to beat Bilakapic tonight. I mean, he seems to be in the right place at the right time a lot.
Derby 0, Oxford 1 in League One. Mark Harris, I think that's 2-2 for the former Cardiff man. Derby 0, Oxford 1 at Pride Park. Ebbsfleet 1, Aldershot 0 in the National League. Ebbsfleet in front through Franklin Domi just after the half hour. And Oldham 0, FC Halifax 1. Rob Harker for the Shaman. It's worked back to Liam Roberts in the Barnsley goals. The floodlights are just starting to take a little bit of an effect here as the sun is setting. Still beautiful light blue sky above us, but it's darkening and will be much darker by the time we get into the second half, live here on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. 33 minutes gone in the first half. Somehow Neil Redfern, former Barnsley player, it's still 0-0.
Yeah, unbelievably so. I mean, both sides have had the chances. Both sides have played some really entertaining football, I have to say. Credit to the division.
Jonathan Russell thought he let the ball go out of play so that Barnsley could have a throw, but the assistant disputes that. And of course, you've got to be careful with any back chat these days. Yellow cards are issued, including to managers, including Gary O'Neill, who got a yellow card for protesting about what looked a certain penalty for Wolves last night that wasn't given. How many yellow cards would you have got as a manager, Neil Redfern?
Well, I think I'd have been off by then. How's that not given, by the way?
It's a mystery to me. And Wolves' next game, Gary O'Neill's first home game in charge, is live on Talksport on Saturday afternoon. I'll be at Molineux with Perry Groves. Full commentary on Wolves against Brighton. That should be a really good game, actually. Brighton look smashing.
Yeah.
At home to Luton.
I think they're a great watch, Brighton.
Carlisle 0, Wigan 1. Wigan are going to get into positive points territory after just 3 games if things stay as they are. Charlie Wyke on the mark again for Wigan. What a great story that is after collapsing on the field and getting back to full fitness. Remember Liam Richardson, his former manager, being credited with, you know, being there on the scene at the time. And there he is scoring for Wigan again, Charlie Wyke. Carlisle 0, Wigan 1.
Amazing.
And Wickham 1, Leyton Orient 1. Leyton Orient equalise at Adams Park through Ruel Sotirio. 0-0 here, throw to Barnsley. We played 35 minutes, 10 to the break on Talksport 2. John Russell, who had one of the chances in the first half, smacked straight at the keeper. Cadden whips a lovely left-footed cross in, and it's turned behind by Burrows. Again, he didn't know what was behind him. He didn't get a call either, I don't think, so he just steered it behind for what is Barnsley's 6th corner of the half. And you just heard what Neil Redfern thought about that cross.
I mean, I'd have to say, if I were Nicky Cadden, I'd be looking at Barry Cotter and saying, where are you? I mean, what a fantastic ball. Missed all the back line out, dropped in that back stick area. He's got to be coming in there, Barry Cotter.
So it's another Nicky Cadden in-swinging corner kick from where the north stand meets the east. Left-footed from Cadden into the near post this time. Russell Clive headed out by Johnson Clark-Harris. It's yet another corner for Barnsley. They're keeping the pressure on with these set pieces, and that these set pieces are asking questions too, Neil Redfern.
Without shadow of a doubt. I mean, I have to say that I've never seen as many quality deliveries in from set players and in general play, particularly from Cadden on this side. I mean, he's out there now with his left foot, going to swing another one in.
Packed 6-yard area as it goes in there from the corner, headed out at the near post this time. I think it was Romney Critchlow got the header in. It's floated back into the box. Kitching keeps it alive somehow. Drops at the far post, and it's clutched hold of gratefully by Nicholas Bilakapic. I have no idea how Liam Kitching kept a long, high ball downfield in play, right on the dead ball line, left-hand side. But it ended up popping into the goalkeeper's arms for Peterborough, 0-0.
Well, it's living a charmed life at this moment in time, the Peterborough goal, but to be fair to Barnsley, they give nothing up. They keep everything alive in the box, and they're making Peterborough defend.
Given away by Romney Critchlow, but Callum Stiles just gets the ball taken off his toe in the nick of time by Hector Cipriano. It's harum-scarum, this possession being given up very high up the field by both sides at times. Now Poku lays it off to Cipriano. What a ball. Kiyoso's got loads of green grass to run into for Peterborough as he scampers forward. Early ball into the box. It goes behind Mason Clark and Clark Harris. But Mason Clark shows great pace to get ahead of Cotter to win it back for the Posh. 0-0, 8 minutes to half time. Here is Mason Clark laying it off to Cipriano just ahead of the centre circle, drives the ball forward looking for Poku at the edge of the area. Cadden slid in and won it back for Barnsley. Now Devante Cole, quick feet from him. Kitching driving forward, the skipper up from the back, releases Cole again, and Robbie Edwards comes across and makes a lovely sliding challenge to not just win the ball back but come away with the ball. 0-0.
Yeah, he just asked a little bit too much of Devante Cole there, Kitchen. It's a fantastic break from the centre back. I don't know how he's found himself up there, but he tried to slide that ball through. It's just a little bit heavy. Great defending from Ronnie Edwards.
It's like Tony Adams coming forward that day that Arsenal won the title at Highbury.
Nosebleed. As soon as you get over the halfway line, centre halves, nosebleed.
It's a first half hat-trick for Victor Adebayejo for Bolton Wanderers. Bolton 3, Fleetwood 0. Great first half hat-trick for him. No goals here, but plenty of chances on Talksport 2. It's 0-0, and Peterborough have a chance to slide it through to Joel Randall, but Burrows couldn't find him. It's only half cleared. Back into the area. Randall's onside.
What a
save, Liam Roberts! And Joel Randall has his hands on top of his head for Peterborough. He felt certain he'd broken the deadlock. The flag stayed down, isolated on his own in the area. And Liam Roberts just threw his hands to his right and got a glove on it and put it behind for a Peterborough corner. 0-0 still somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable save, to be fair, by Liam Roberts. I mean, I just look at Joel Randall there. The only thing I would say is it's just a little bit obvious, you know, with his shot of where he's going to put it, but it no right to save it. He struck it with pace. It was going in the corner. What a save. Keepers have been unbelievable tonight.
I think this is Peterborough's first corner of the half, and we're 39 minutes into the game. 0-0. It's over on the left-hand side at the southeast corner, in front of the Norman Remington stand. It's played short to the left-hand corner of the box. Randall looking to make room for a cross. It's come off Devante Cole. Stiles can't prevent another corner for Peterborough, second in quick succession in the same quadrant.
Just looked at the setup here, Dance. You know, there's nobody on the edge of the box for Barnsley. If you look at it,
yeah, Archie Collins is lurking there, isn't he? In fact, it's zonal marking from Barnsley. There's a clutch of blue shirts around the penalty spot, and they're not being individually marked at the moment. Now one or two are. He's going to come in from the right-hand side into the near post, headed out by Russell. But it's Collins who gets there first, finds Joel Randall out on the left-hand side. Tries to cross, it's blocked by Jordan Williams. It will be a throw. Down the left-hand side of the area quickly, Mason Clark wins another corner. Peterborough trying to turn the screw here. 0-0, 5 minutes to half time. They've got a third corner in quick succession.
Yeah, this is a really good spell by Peterborough. Really thorough in how they ring that box and how they keep things alive. Barnsley having to defend for their lives at the moment.
Randall's there again, short corner to Harrison Burrows, who hits a high looping centre. Clark Harris tries to get ahead and it goes over his head, but retrieving it on this near side is Archie Collins for Peterborough. Now Clark Harris into the centre of the Barnsley half. Lovely chip ball looking for Burrows at the far post. It's headed away by Herbie Kane. Burrows puts it back into the box. Cipriano goes up. Poker with a shot deflected by, I think, Liam Kitchen, the captain. It didn't get as far as the goalkeeper. And Barnsley try and counter. Ball lofted from right to left. Devante Cole knocks it down. Styles finds Cole again. Oh, his first touch was looking for Watters, but he got the touch wrong and it just rolled through to Bila Kapic, the Peterborough keeper. 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, this game could be anything but the 0-0. It could be 3 apiece easily. Both sides have had really good chances. Keepers are on top form at both ends. It's such a quality game.
Doncaster 1, Mansfield 1 in League 2. Lewis Reed for Mansfield gets an equaliser at the keep mode. Oldham 1, FC Halifax 1, and that's Mark Shelton for Oldham. Now left hand side, Joe Randall for Peterborough looking to slide it down the box for Mason Clark, intercepted. Barnsley might try and counter again. Styles just shy of the halfway line. He had Poku watching him, so he couldn't sprint over the halfway line. Instead he keeps possession, finds Barry Cotter. Cotter just holds play up for a moment, works it in field to Herbie Kane. Now back into his own half for Wapata and Kitching, the captain. Nicky Cadden now for Barnsley. Lays it back to Kitching. Was he barged over by Kioso? He's told to get up by referee Backhouse. Is Nicky Cadden. And now he'll get to his feet and receive the ball down the left-hand side. Another swirling cross from Cadden, headed away by Edwards for Peterborough. Chested down by Poku and lofted downfield onto the chest of Johnson Clark Harris. And he finds Randall. Lovely lofted pass. Will get Cipriano away for the Posh. Over the halfway line. Attacking the Norman Rimington stand to our right. Just holds play up. Finds Poku. Poku gets his head up and he just calmly drifts the ball from right to left, picking out Harrison Burrows. Now Romany Critchlow for Peterborough inside his own half. Robbie Edwards just gets up to the halfway line. Finds Kioso. Kioso down the right hand side of the midfield, and it's Poku trying to nutmeg Kasper Wapata, but the Polish centre half deals with that well enough. Long ball downfield, heavy touch from Critchlow, but he kept it away from Devante Cole, but Callum Styles wins it back, then he's fouled by Cipriano.
That's a yellow card.
And it is indeed a yellow card,
yeah,
for the Peterborough number 22 for that challenge. And it's greeted with a cheer from those wearing red sat in the stands. 0-0, yeah, somehow.
Yeah, it was quite a cynical challenge from Cipriano. I mean, he got the wrong side of Styles, and Styles was just taking the ball away from him. And he comes from the side and takes the midfielder down. It's a really cynical challenge. He's right, the referee. It is a yellow card.
Moving into the last minute of normal time at the end of the first half on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Over 120 games live on Talksport and Talksport 2 from the EFL this season, including all the playoff semi-finals and the finals at Wembley come next May. Cadden gets barged over by Kwame Poku, but the referee says that's not a foul and says it's actually a Peterborough throw-in in their right back position. 0-0.
Yeah, all seems to be happening around Nicky Cadden at the moment. I don't think he's too happy about 2 or 3 of the challenges that have gone in on him.
And he's a fiery character, is Nicky Cadden. Not backwards in coming forwards. Eastleigh 1, Barnet 3 at the Silver Lake.
Oh, what a
in
ball.
The National League. What a ball from Randall to pick up Mason Clark. Early ball into the box looking for Clark Harris, but Liam Roberts, the Barnsley keeper, swiftly off his line, judged it well and clutched it to his chest. We're going into 2 minutes of minimum added time at the end of the first half. 0-0 between Barnsley and Peterborough. But here comes Callum Styles darting forward, or just doesn't take the ball with him. Forgets he was in possession for a moment and allows Archie Collins to steal it back from him. Clip forward for Joel Randall. Oh, what a first touch to lob it over Wapata. Then just traps the ball. Works it in field to Clark Harris in the centre of the Barnsley half. Clark Harris goes for goal. And it lands in row Z in the Norman Rimington. 0-0.
Yeah, I think Kwame Poku would have been a better option. He was charging down the right hand side of Clark Harris. What a game though, Dance.
The first touch from Joe Randall there to just lob it over Lapato and then run round him.
Yeah.
Fantastic skill.
I mean, it belies the level, to be fair, this game. It's been really real quality.
But it is still somehow goalless. We've played the first minute of the minimum 2 that have been added on by Anthony Backhouse at the end of this first period. I'll run you through the half-time scores in a bit, give you some headlines at half-time, and then full second half commentary to come. Liam Roberts sends the goal kick downfield for Barnsley, flicked on by Cotter. Watters gamely giving chase out towards the corner flag on the far side, but he's beaten to it by Burrows. Critchlow will fire it downfield, but it goes out of play, and it will be a Peterborough throw. It came off a Barnsley boot as we drift towards half-time on Talksport 2 with the score at 0-0.
Yeah, it's been a good battle that between Harrison Burrows and Barry Cotter. Both players have had joy at certain times, but it's a really strong defender.
Reading needing their first points of the season, lead Cheltenham. An own goal from Will Ferry of the Select Car Leasing gives Reading the lead. That's one of the 8 o'clock kickoffs tonight. Portsmouth Exeter in League One. It's also an 8 p.m. kickoff. That's goalless at Fratton Park. Goalless here at Oakwell. Ball's guided back by Barnsley number 5 Liam Kitching to his keeper Liam Roberts, and as he drives the ball downfield, the referee blows the whistle, and warm applause on a warm summer's evening in South Yorkshire. It may be goalless between Barnsley and Peterborough, but it has been richly entertaining for all of that, and both goalkeepers have made vital saves. Early on it was Liam Roberts making a double save from Mason Clark, and then I think the follow-up came from Poku. Poku's also headed wide, but Nicholas Bilakapic in the Peterborough goal has made some sensational stops, notably to deny Nicky Cadden, who drove a fierce shot goalwards. It's been superb goalkeeping. That's the reason why it's 0-0 at half-time, Neil Redford. Nothing else.
Exactly that. I mean, the quality's been good. The balls in have been of real high quality. The efforts at goal have been on target and struck well. Just both ends, both goalkeepers have been absolutely outstanding, particularly Nicholas Bilakapic. Fantastic performance. He had 2 or 3 saves there that were world class. He'd no right to save, to be honest with you. But you can imagine that both managers will be really pleased with that. But the second half's going to be really important now that both sides start well, because what you don't want to do is take your foot off the pedal now.
Well, who would be the happier manager of the two?
Well, I think they'll both be quite happy, to be honest with you, because if you look at Peterborough, they've tried to play out, they've weathered the storm. Barnsley have pressed well. They've not just had the luck in the press at times early on. I think as the game's gone on, Barnsley started to dominate the middle part of the game and create some great chances. And if you look at the back line at Peterborough, they've stood strong, you know, and it's not something that you can label at Peterborough in years gone by. You know, it's been a problem for them, but they've looked good at the back. They've looked diligent. They've tracked runners. I like the look of Romani Critchlow. I mean, I was witnessed him a few times last year for Bradford City. You know, he was on loan there. Been a good signing. Ronnie Edwards looks the part. Been a really good encounter. Both sides have played so well.
Plenty more to come here at Oakwell. Don't touch that dial. Full second half commentary to come on this game. I'll run you through the half-time scores in a tick. You'll also hear from Serena Wiekman ahead of the Lionesses World Cup semi-final that you can hear on Talksport 2 tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. But at half-time here in South Yorkshire, it's Barnsley 0, Peterborough United 0. Welcome back to Oakwell. At half-time, it's somehow goalless between Barnsley and Peterborough United on your home of the EFL Talksport 2. Let's run you through the other scores elsewhere. I can tell you that Rangers have just equalised against Servette in Switzerland. James Tavernier making it 1-1 on the night, 3-2 to Rangers on aggregate in that Champions League third round qualifier. But elsewhere in League One, the half-time scores: Blackpool 0, Port Vale 0, Bolton 3, Fleetwood 0, and Adebayo hat-trick in the first half of the Trotters. Cambridge 0, Stevenage 1, Carlisle 0, Wigan 1, Charlton 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Derby 0, Oxford 1, Northampton 0, Lincoln 1, Shrewsbury 2, Burton 0, Wickham 1, Leyton Orient 1. And in the 8 o'clock kickoff, still playing in the first half, Portsmouth 0, Exeter 0, and Reading 1, Cheltenham 0. League 2 half-times: Accrington 1, Barrow 0, Colchester 0, Wimbledon 0, Crawley 1, MK Dons 1, Crewe 1, Newport 1, Doncaster 1, Mansfield 1, Forest Green 1, Swindon 0. Grimsby 1, Salford 0. Morecambe 0, Notts County 0. Stockport 0, Bradford 0. Sutton 0, Gillingham 1. Tranmere 2, Harrogate 0. And Wrexham 2, Walsall 1. Just quickly in the National League half-times, AFC Fylde 0, Kidderminster 0. Bromley 0, Wealdstone 1. Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Gateshead 1. Dorking 1, Southend 1. Eastleigh 1, Barnet 3. Ebbsfleet 1, Aldershot 0. Hartlepool 0, Maidenhead 0. Oldham 1, FC Halifax Town 1. Oxford City 0, Chesterfield 1. Woking 0, Rochdale 1. And York City 2, Altrincham 1. And we await the arrival of Barnsley for the second half back here at Oakwell. Peterborough players have just emerged from the tunnel. Peterborough were in the top 10 for most of last season in League One. Darren Ferguson came back in January and steered them back into the top 6 come April, and it was here at Oakwell, you were here I think last day of the season when
Mark Wilson.
Peterborough won and Derby lost at home to Sheffield Wednesday. That's right. That meant that Peterborough leapfrogged Derby right at the last to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they were really good that day, Peterborough. 1-2-0. And Barnsley were, they were right up there already. But he's done a fantastic job, whichever way you look at it, Darren Ferguson. Each stint that he's been at Peterborough United, it suits him. And he suits the club and the club suit him. And it seems to be a match made in football heaven, if you like.
Well, there's certainly a deliberate ploy to bring youth players through. Darren McAntony, the chairman of Peterborough, was talking about that determination to have a real crack at this with much younger players. We mentioned the average age of the Peterborough team that started against Charlton last time out, under 23, and of course a player like Johnson Clark Harris actually skews that, being 29, so it could be even younger for this team of Peterborough United. Stockport 0, Bradford 1. Early in the second half, Bradford lead through Alex Patterson at Edgeley Park. Stockport could go 3 defeats in a row, having reached the playoffs last season.
Had a fantastic season last season.
It's not started well. By the way, half-time at Portsmouth against Exeter in the 8 o'clock kickoff, that's 0-0. And Reading lead Cheltenham by a goal to 0 in the other 8 o'clock kickoff. But we're back underway on Talksport 2 at Oakwell between these two heavily fancied League One sides. Both of them around about 9-1 with most bookies to win promotion this season as title holders. I'll run you through the lineups with Barnsley. Roberts in goal, Williams, Yopata and Kitching in a back 3. Cotter, Kane, Russell and Cadden in midfield. Styles just behind the front 2 of Cole and Watters. For Peterborough, Bilakapic in goal, Kioso, Edwards, Critchlow, Burrows in the back 4. Cipriano and Collins holding, and then Poku, Randall and Mason Clark in behind Clark Harris up front. No changes made at the break by either manager. Neil Collins stood just in front of us in his jumper and slacks combo with the tan shoes. Darren Ferguson, more of a tracksuit manager these days, and Peter Kioso, the birthday boy, heads the ball out of play. So Barnsley, who are now attacking the Norman Rimington stand, the South stand to our right hand side, in their red shirts which fade into white as it goes down from the chest down towards the hips. Peterborough in all blue with white socks. And here is Liam Kitching, the captain, receiving the ball on halfway, looking for an option. Just plays a short pass into Devante Cole. Was he being held by Cipriano? No, says the referee, and they're trying to release Mason Clark over the top. Will he keep it in play at the dead ball line? Yes, he will. Efron Mason Clark trying to get away from Joel Williams, tricked himself in the end, Mason Clark, and Williams scampers clear for Barnsley, finds Callum Styles inside his own half, and he in turn sprints over the halfway line with the ball at his feet. Nobody closing him down just yet, so he can flick it out to the left hand side. Nicky Cadden, who had a dangerous first half for Barnsley, works the ball in field to John Russell, across to Jordan Williams. Williams in the centre of the Peterborough half just checks and goes back to the centre circle for Casper Wapata. Now here's Jordan Williams again, out to this near touchline, and Barry Cotter goes to ground under pressure from Burrows. Free kicks is our referee, Anthony Backhouse. 0-0.
Yeah, silly foul, just takes the pressure off Barnsley there. They were under pressure with the back to play almost, but that ball that initially got played over the top for for Mason Clark. That's the ball that I was looking for the first half, that Peterborough could have played perhaps. You know, that diagonal ball on the angle wide caused Barnsley all sorts of problems. Didn't play it enough for me, and that's the way to unlock that Barnsley defence.
That's the voice of Neil Redfern you can hear alongside me. Ian Dancer, 338 appearances for Barnsley and an inductee into their Hall of Fame in their first year that they brought that into being. What was it, 2018 I think, that they started the Barnsley Hall of Fame. Herbie Kane's been brought down. Barnsley have a free kick in a pretty dangerous position out on the right hand side, 25 yards from the dead ball line. Chance for Herbie Kane to either swirl the ball away from the keeper, or perhaps more dangerously, Nicky Cadden to swirl it almost towards him into the far post.
Well, they're just setting a dangerous precedent here, Peterborough, because they don't want to be giving these silly free kicks away, because they've shown first half the quality that Barnsley have got and delivering from these sort of positions, particularly Cadden with his left foot, Kane over the ball as well. Both good deliverers.
Well, it's 50-50 who's going to strike this. There's a two-man Peterborough wall at the right-hand corner of the penalty area. Peterborough holding their line of defenders just to the right of that, across the D, and it is Kane who's going to take it. A bit of a grub kick along the floor. It's hooked up in the air by Poku, and there's a foul on the keeper. The ball went in the net, but the whistle had gone before the ball actually went over the line and into the net. He was being barged there, Bilakapic, and it stays 0-0. And a nod of the head from Neil Redfern alongside me.
Yeah, it was a foul. You know, it wasn't a good ball in, to be fair, from Kane. He's better than that.
Now Mason Clark scampers away from Cotter. Space for the Peterborough number 10. Up to the edge of the area, plays it in field for Randall. Barnsley have got players back now. Randall plays it across to Kioso. Goes for goal, and it's only just wide from the birthday boy Peter Kioso. Let fly from fully 30 yards out. Liam Roberts was at full stretch diving to his left, and it can't have gone far wide of that far post. It's another goal kick to Barnsley, 0-0.
What an unbelievable strike. Fantastic strike for a right back. No backlift, kept it down. All he's got to do there is hit the target. The goalkeepers don't get one like that in the warm-up.
They don't.
That's the sort of quality that beats them.
Salford down to 10 men at Grimsby in League 2. Osama Ashley sent off for a second yellow card. 2 lemons make a strawberry. He's gone. Grimsby lead by 1-0. It's 0-0 here on Talksport 2. 5 gone in the second half. AFC Wimbledon take the lead at Colchester, and it's James Tilley who scored a penalty at the weekend. He's put AFC Wimbledon 1 up at Colchester.
He's got to do more. Waters there.
Well, he's lost possession, but Barnsley have won it back, and it's Herbie Kane who plays a crossfield ball right to left. It's kept in play over on the far side in front of the east stand by Liam Kitching. Kitching, the centre half, up to Callum Stiles. Nearly called him Harry Styles then. Ball played into the box. Watters works it to the right hand corner of the box. Driven in by Cotter and touched in. That might be an own goal off Robbie Edwards, but it certainly sent the keeper the wrong way. Barry Cotter just chanced his arm from the right hand corner of the box, and whether the keeper got the final touch or whether it was Robbie Edwards, Cotter celebrating because his shot was on target, and Barnsley hit the front 6 minutes into the second half. It's Barnsley 1, Peterborough 0.
Well, I have to say, Nicholas Bilakapic has been absolutely outstanding today for Peterborough, but that's got to go down as a goalkeeping error for me. Well, it's a fantastic strike by Barry Cotter. He strikes it hard and low, hits the target, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. He's got to do more with that, and it ricochets into the corner of the goal. It just shows you don't shoot, you don't score.
Well, he was sensational in the first half. Nicholas Bilakapic made 1 or 2 quite outstanding saves, but
I think that's an error, Dance.
He couldn't get down low enough basically for the shot from Cotter. So he's been assisting so far this season, Barry Cotter. Now he's on the score sheet. Joined in January from Shamrock Rovers. Went to Ipswich a few years ago, only made a handful of appearances for the Tractor Boys, but he's found a home here at Barnsley, and Barry Cotter has them in front. Swindon Town equalise at Forest Green Rovers. Danny Kemp. So 1-0 to the Tykes on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. And the ball's back with Romany Critchlow for the Posh. Robbie Edwards, I'm not sure whether Robbie Edwards, who was standing in front of Bilakapic, put him off slightly.
I agree with that. That you know, might be a little bit harsh saying it wasn't a good phase of play for the goalkeeper. You know, he's got to do more with it. He's seen the shot. It has come through legs, but he's seen the shot clearly. He's got to do better with it. But it's put Barnsley in front. Tails are up now.
That's Neil Redfern alongside me, Ian Danter, as Barnsley hit the front. We've played 7 minutes of the second half, but here come Posh coming forward with Archie Collins. The ball deflects out to the left hand side. It's given back to Archie Collins by Mason Clark. Now out to the left wing, Harrison Burrows checks onto his right foot, dummies the ball away from Jordan Williams, doesn't deliver the cross though. He's holding on to the ball and rolls it back 30 yards or so to the centre circle. Robbie Edwards plays the ball right to Kioso. Ball's back with Robbie Edwards once more. Kioso striding forward from right back, cross deflected in the air. Awkward header for Cotter to deal with, but he headed it out for a throw on the far side of the field for a Peterborough throw down by the corner flag. 1-0 Barnsley.
Yeah, he did well there, Barry Cotter, because that just dipped in front of him. It was coming at pace and he swooped down with a man on his back, just got his head to it and cleared the lines. Great defending.
Wrexham 3, Walsall 1 in League 2. Jake Bickerstaff for Wrexham as they restore their 2-goal cushion at the racecourse ground. So we finally had the breakthrough here in South Yorkshire. How did Peterborough respond to going behind? Robbie Edwards, their young centre half, 20 years of age, just trots over the halfway line with the ball at his feet, clips it out left to Burrows, who plays a neat 1-2 with Randall, and then squares the ball backwards to square to Kioso. He's going to have another go for goal here, Kioso. That's nowhere near as close as his first effort from right back. Similar sort of distance, 35 yards out, but he's held an apologetic arm up to his teammates as that one almost landed in those Peterborough fans in the top tier of the Barry Murphy. Away to our left, 1-0 Barnsley.
Yeah, I was just looking at Darren Ferguson there, a little bit frustrated with his centre back. I mean, he's shooting from fully 50 yards out. Although they do go in from there, though.
Sometimes Vincent Kompany can score from there for Manchester City when it mattered in a title race.
Yeah,
so it can happen. Crawley Town 2, MK Dons 1. Danilo Orsi Dodomo with the second for Crawley. The push on Archie Collins means it's a free kick to Peterborough. Woking equalise at home to Rochdale in the National League. That's 1-1. Cards equalising through Scott Cuthbert.
I think he'll be looking for a reaction from his team now, Darren Ferguson. Just a bit of a lull in the game after the goal. There's usually a bit of a reaction, isn't there?
Well, Archie Collins has just gone down, so there is a genuine lull in play.
Yeah.
Because the Peterborough number 27 needs a bit of treatment. Gives me a chance to remind you that the big man Alan Brazil back on Talksport Breakfast in the morning with Gabby Agbonlahor alongside him. So Gabby's had 4 days to think up an excuse for why Villa lost 5 at Newcastle.
He'll find one.
He better find one quick, because Alan's going to want to get it out of him very swiftly. That's Talksport Breakfast when you wake up tomorrow morning from 6. And Danny Murphy joins White and Jordan from 10 in the morning. But don't forget, England, the Lionesses against Australia. Our coverage starts here on Talksport 2, 10:30 in the morning with Faker Others, also Joe Shannon and Leanne Sanderson, your commentary team for that all-important semi-final, England against Australia. Archie Collins is back on his feet. I'm not sure whether he's got a slight head injury. Now, concussion protocols are strictly adhered to these days. We saw it happen at the weekend. A player having scored. I'm trying to think who it was now. My mind's completely gone blank. But player went
30 seconds in it before they can, even if they're all right, before they can come back on.
That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah. But the players have been substituted. I think it was the Tottenham goal scorer. That's it. At Brentford on Sunday. Christian Romero. Back underway. And Peterborough come forward, and Joe Randall forces a fine save from Liam Roberts from the edge of the area. Liam Roberts has been in fine form, just as his opposite number has been, and he denies Randall, who improvised a really nice half volley from the edge of the area, but it is a corner to Peterborough at the Barry Murphy stand in front of the travelling support. 1-0 Barnsley.
I think that's going in, Dan, to be honest with you. Makes a great save. Liam Roberts dives down to his right hand side, just tips it, might just clip the post on its way out as well.
He's on loan from Middlesbrough, Liam Roberts, and he looks on as Randall prepares to take this corner kick for Peterborough. Deep to the far post, up goes Kioso, drops away from him, volleyed away by Devante Cole up to halfway, but nobody there in a red shirt, only Robbie Edwards. Hits a diagonal ball out to the left hand side where the offside flag goes up against Johnson Clark Harris. There'll be a free kick to Barnsley, who lead by a goal to nil here on Talksport 2. Carlisle have just equalised at Brunton Park against Wigan. Owen Moxon with the equaliser there, and Crewe 2, Newport 1. I don't believe it, it's Mickey Demetriou again against his old club. And Newport are talking to investors about, because it's owned by the Supporters Trust at the minute, but there's all sorts of rumours doing the round that fresh investment is required at Rodney Parade. More on that in the coming days. Don't forget our EFL All Access show every Monday night with Hugh Wozencroft, dissecting all the weekend's talking points from the EFL. Throw in to Barnsley, who lead by a goal to nil. We played 58 minutes on Talksport 2. Barry Cotto scored the goal early in the piece in this second half, has the throw, he's taking it short, midway point of the Peterborough half, and Herbie Kane works it in field for Jordan Williams, gives it back to Kane, plenty forward waiting for a cross, swirled in by Kane, half volley clear by Critchlow, and that allows Poku to bring it clear. Kioso making a strong run out to the right hand side, keeps it in play for Peterborough, but has to check and go back in field to a teammate, and that allows everybody in Barnsley to get back behind the ball.
When they've broke, they've done that really well, you know. If they could raid, they've gone quick and they've got numbers up there and they've got an effort at goal or a crossing. But if they can't, and Barnsley getting shirts back, they've built well. You know, they've made the good decisions when they've countered.
Kioso gets down the right hand side, fires a half decent crossing straight into the chest of Liam Roberts. Stays 1-0 to Barnsley. And Charlton 0, Bristol Rovers 1. Scott Sinclair, who got the equaliser against Barnsley on Saturday, puts Rovers in front at Charlton Athletic. Big potential, says the co-owner of Bristol Rovers, Hussein Al Saeed, for Bristol Rovers to move forward. They're still talking about finding a new stadium to play in, Bristol Rovers. That seems to have been going on with that club for a very, very long time.
They've had quite a few different stadiums, haven't they?
Well, they played at Twerton Park for a bit, didn't they? Home of Bath City.
Yeah.
So they lead at Charlton. Now down the left hand side for Peterborough, a goal down, Joel Randall, good ball into the near post, just misses out Clark Harris. And off the post by Poku. Right at the far post, Kwame Poku got a toe end on the cross that was intended, I think, for Clark Harris. He missed it. Poku got onto it at the far post, but could only find the upright and behind for another Barnsley goal kick. It stays 1-0 to the Tykes.
Well, we're almost waiting for the net to ripple as that ball lands at Poku's feet, but outstretched Johnson Clark Harris missed it, Kitchen missed it, and as Poku's coming in the back stick, you just think he's going to get a touch on it, and it goes in the back of the net. It's hit the post and gone into the goalkeeper's hands. How's your luck?
Stays 1-0 to Barnsley on Talksport 2. As skies darken above us, it's still a very pleasant late summer's evening at Oakwell. A very pleasant evening for the Barnsley supporters, not so for those travelling up the A1 and M1 from Peterborough, but there's still plenty of time left. We're only just past the hour mark here at Oakwell on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Now out to the right hand side, Kwame Poku, who's just had that terrific opportunity to level matters. Joel Randall schemes down the right hand side of the box for the Posh, gets the cross in, headed out strongly by Williams, but it's a throw, is it? No, it's kept in play by Poku. Clark Harris, what a save by Liam Roberts. He's picked that out from the postage stamp. The header from Clark Harris, he must have thought that's 1-1, but Liam Roberts had other ideas. Magnificent save to keep Barnsley in front.
Well, an unbelievable save, to be honest with you. I mean, he's point blank range there. Johnson Clark-Harris, great ball in, to be fair, to the far post by Poku. Picks his man out, heads it towards goal. It's going in, and there's Liam Roberts to tip it over the bar. Absolutely no right to get to that.
Amazing save, but it is a corner to Peterborough United to be taken by Randall right into the crossbar, and it's a much simpler save for Liam Roberts to make. Nobody around him, so he was able to clutch hold of it gratefully with both hands. 1-0 to Barnsley, 62 minutes gone. Hartlepool lead Maidenhead by 1-0 in the National League. A reminder, we'll have more EFL football for you on Friday. Neil Redfern alongside me. Ian Dante used to be Leeds manager. Leeds West Brom is a fascinating game in prospect at Ellen Road on Friday night, with everything that's going on around Leeds and indeed West Brom. And the fans not enamoured with the owners, particularly at the Hawthorn, so they'll travel up to West Yorkshire. Adrian Durham will be there. Mark Wilson and Lucy Ward will be your commentary team. Nibs getting a commentary in. She'll have the headset that night, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The family headset.
I tell you what a game this has been, by the way.
Yeah, it has been terrific.
Unbelievable. I mean, Peterborough must be looking at this game and thinking, in any other set of circumstances, we will be 3 or 4-0 up here. I mean, unbelievable saves from Liam Roberts. And you've got to say at the other end as well, Nicholas Bilakopic has been just as equally as good. Brilliant goalkeeping.
Forest Green have had a man sent off. Harvey Bunker has gone. 2 yellow cards. 2 lemons make a strawberry club. He's off. Still 1-1 against Swindon in that sort of local derby.
You can't keep using that one, Dance. It tickles me too much.
I said it to Moose once, 2 lemons maker, and he said red. Wasn't really wrong. Hartlepool 2 up now on Maidenhead. Charlie Seaman gets the second for Pools. Eastleigh 2, Barnet 3. Eastleigh getting back into it at the Silver Lake. They were 3-0 down, but Scott Quigley makes it 2-3. Peterborough have a goal kick away to our right in the South Stand end. It is 1-0 to Barnsley.
Just looking at Neil Collins, Dance, and whether he's looking at his front lights, just looking a little bit jaded now. Callum Stiles there, just a little bit leggy.
He's got options on the bench. Andrew Dallas, who arrived from Solihull Moors at Barnsley last season. Here is Callum Stiles looking to release Devante Cole through the middle, but the pass is overhit and bounces through to Bilakopic. Now on the turn, Cipriano just plays a square ball to Harrison Burrows. Peterborough need to keep the intensity up here and keep Barnsley guessing. It's 1-0 to Barnsley. If you're just tuning into Talksport 2, we've played 65 minutes, so 25 to go plus added time. Here is Hector Cipriano. Floats a left-footed ball out to Mason Clark on this near side. He can't keep the ball in play, just tried to turn Barry Cotter, the goal scorer, got away from him for a moment.
Needs to make a decision here, the referee. Both looking at one another, the linesman and the ref.
Tell you what as well, we've got a great game for you Saturday lunchtime on Talksport 2. Plymouth against Southampton in the Championship at Home Park. Plymouth, who scored 100 plus points in League One last year. Southampton, who had that 4-4 draw with Norwich at the weekend. Nigel Adley and Sam Parkin will be your commentary team for that one at Home Park. That's a 12:30 kickoff, and then I'll be at Molineux with Perry Gross as part of Game Day Live on Talk Sport. Adrian Durham's going to be presenting the show from Anfield, where Liverpool are playing Bournemouth, I think. But I'll bring you full commentary on Wolves against Brighton and around the grounds with goals as they go in from our top team of reporters from the Premier League and the EFL.
Yeah, there's a little bit of frustration around the technical area of Barnsley. Can't get out at this moment in time. Playing straight balls into the front, coming straight back. Peterborough dominating possession.
Can they make it count? Can they make it count? 3-1 to Crewe against Newport County. Chris Long scores a penalty. I bet Mickey Dimitri wanted that spot kick. But Chris Long took it and scored it. Here comes Archie Collins for Peterborough. Up to the edge of the area. Clark Harris sets himself, goes for goal left-footed, puts it over the bar. And it's a goal kick again to Barnsley away to our left-hand side. steadied himself, Johnson Clark-Harris, but just couldn't hit the target.
I would say that for Johnson Clark-Harris, that's a chance. On his left foot, on his good foot, teed himself up there, no backlift, but he's looking to chip and curl that ball. It wasn't really on. It'd have been better striking through it.
Well, he mentioned that there were going to be changes, and indeed there are.
Yeah, they're just starting to look a bit leggy, aren't they, up top, Barnsley?
So the aforementioned Andrew Dallas, once the Solihull Moors, is coming on for Watters, and Devante Cole is coming off as well, and Ollie Shaw is on to replace him. Ollie Shaw, who joined in January from Kilmarnock, hasn't scored yet for Barnsley.
It's due one then.
So he's on. So strikers for strikers.
Yeah, that makes sense. A little bit of energy, just put them under pressure a little bit at the back.
Quarter of the game to go. Wycombe Wanderers lead against Leyton Orient once again, and it's Joe Lowe again for the Chairboys, who puts them 2-1 up at Adams Park. Free kick to Peterborough inside their own half. It's rolled back to Robbie Edwards, and he slides the ball up to halfway. Poku, neat touch to flick it to his right, plays a 1-2 with Peter Kioso, but the ball just skipped away from him. However, Kitchen couldn't keep it in play. Peterborough have a throw taken quickly by Poku. Just looks like a foul throw for a minute, but in the end there was a free kick given for a chopping challenge on Peter Kioso. So Peterborough have a chance here, Neil Redfern, to swing the ball into the Barnsley box from out wide on the right hand side.
Yeah, and it's a silly challenge from Kitchen. Liam Kitchen, he's got to do better there. He's just got to stand up. But it's a really good angle for Peterborough to put this ball in, and we've seen the quality that they do deliver. Got the players to go and attack it.
So a bit of a hush descends on Oakwell for the first time in quite a while, because everyone's been richly entertained so far. And it's Joel Randall standing over it. Harrison Burrows there too. Left or right footed delivery possible to come in from that Peterborough right hand side. Referee has a look. Barnsley holding their line just inside the 18-yard box. Burrows dummies to take it, but leaves it for Randall deep to the far post. Just misses out Clark-Harris. It was a good defensive header clear by Jordan Williams, but Critchlow retrieves the ball on this near side for Peterborough. Collins elects to go back to the halfway line, and Edwards, he gives it back to Archie Collins. Ramoni Critchlow in plenty of space down the left hand side. Decent cross into the far post, but it goes beyond everybody in blue and has gone out in the end for a throw down by the corner flag on the far side of the field. 20 minutes to go on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. It's still Barnsley 1, Peterborough United 0. Neil Redfern.
Yeah, I think they've got themselves camped in this Barnsley half now, Peterborough. You know, he's got a reaction from his team, but they're defending well, Barnsley. They don't want to let this lead slip. I mean, this would be a real feather in the cap if they can turn Peterborough over tonight, because they're one of the sides that are fancied in the division.
Well, Dallas felt he was upended there, but he's got a chance as Ollie Shaw brings the ball forward for Barnsley. Rolls it to the right hand side. Cotter gets to the ball right hand corner of the area, just beat Burrows to it. Drives for the byline. Cotter across the near post in front of goal, and no one can get a touch. Styles tries to keep it alive. It's won back by John Russell, but he can't get through a forest of blue shirts, and Peterborough win it back. And Mason Clark now brings the ball away up to halfway. Williams sticks the boot in, out of play for a Peterborough throw. 1-0 still to Barnsley.
Yeah, defended well there, Peterborough, to be fair. Great break by Barnsley. Moved the ball really quickly, fashioned an effort at goal, and then Peterborough back down the other end. We're back to that territory again, where the tempo lifts and both sides are at it.
Oldham 1, FC Halifax Town 2. Adam Senior puts Halifax in front. Ebbsfleet 2 up on Aldershot. Dominic Polian with the second for Ebbsfleet, and Gateshead are 2-1 up at Dagenham and Redbridge now. Ini Effiong gets one back for the Daggers. Peterborough 1-0 down, have possession with Mason Clark. Crossed into the area looking for Clark-Harris, headed away by Kitching, but Kioso's onto the loose ball for the away side. Wants it back, with a lovely ball slid down the right wing to him by Cipriano, but I don't know why he slid.
Yeah.
If he'd stayed on his feet he could have controlled it, but in sliding to try and control the ball, he just need it out of play for a Barnsley goal kick. 1-0.
Yeah, I think Darren Ferguson thinking the same as well, Dance. Throw his hands in the air. It's a great ball just in behind the back line. He timed his run really well there, Kioso.
Crew 4, Newport 1. Elliot Nevitt gets a fourth for Crew at the Alexander Stadium. Goal kick for Liam Roberts, who's made some sensational saves in this second half. He made some good ones in the first, but they're saved to deny Clark Harris's header. A real treat. And it keeps Barnsley slender 1-0 lead intact. And it's at the back for Peterborough with Peter Chioso, the right back. Infield to his centre half, Edwards. Cipriano just span away from a couple of interested Barnsley shirts who were trying to nick the ball off him. The high press isn't there now from Barnsley.
I was just going to come to that, Dance. You look at Johnson and Russell and Kane in there, and they're just keeping the shape now, not looking to jump and press.
Here's Chioso for Peterborough down the right wing. The cross bobbles into the area, cleared paid by Wapata. Charlton equalise against Bristol Rovers at the Valley. 1-1 there. Equaliser coming from Daniel Kanu. Nicky Cadden nearly won the ball back on the halfway line for Barnsley, but Peterborough have it again. I think it's going to be another Barnsley change in a moment. Fourth official's just been handed a piece of paper from the Barnsley bench. Here, meantime, is Archie Collins for Peterborough. Spots Chioso in space on the right-hand side. Clark Harris calling for the cross. It's pulled back to Cipriano! 1-1! And Hector Cipriano has 2 in 2 for the Posh, and they are level at Oakwell, and it's been coming. They've been pushing Barnsley back. Liam Roberts could do nothing about that, and Hector Cipriano with a stylish finish strokes it home for the equaliser. Barnsley 1, Peterborough 1.
Well, the initial play from Chioso is brilliant, because he's got that ball in behind, his pace took him there, and rather than whip it across the goal, he just pulls it back. He's aware of Cipriano on the edge of the box, and Cipriano's strike is just out of the top draw. No backlift, no touch, just a clean strike back across Liam Roberts right into the far corner, and probably no more than Peterborough have deserved.
On his 50th appearance for the Posh, Hector Cipriano equalises. So just over a quarter of an hour to go on Talksport 2, and a grandstand finish in store. 1-1 it is between these two unbeaten sides. And it's the Peterborough fans you can hear away to our left-hand side. Meantime, Bolton have had a man sent off. They're still 3-0 up against Fleetwood, but Dion Charles has been given a second yellow card. What do we say, Neil? 2 lemons make a
strawberry.
They do, and he's gone. That's a blow for Bolton.
Here
comes Peterborough again. It's Kwame Poku inside the area. Poku touched in by Clark Harris, right on the line. 2 in 2 minutes for the Posh. They're going to go with 3 wins to start the season. And Johnson Clark Harris gets underway with his goal scoring for 23-24. And Barnsley, having been in front, suddenly find themselves behind. Peterborough fans celebrate. Clark Harris couldn't miss from a yard out. It's Barnsley 1, Peterborough 2.
Well, I just look at that left-hand side of Barnsley. Liam Kitchen and Nicky Cadden down there, and they're all over the shop. And it's a little ball inside again, whipped across the box, and he's been looking in the 6-yard box all the game, Johnson Clark Harris, to try and get a second phase or a whipped-in cross. And there he is, a big man to slide it into the far post. But that's been coming, and I look at Barnsley, you know, they've only got themselves to blame here.
Well, they're going to make a change, and they're going to bring on Adam Phillips for the last 14 minutes plus added time. Adam Phillips, who was sent off at Wembley with a score at 0-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. Who knows what would have happened had Barnsley played that second half with the full complement. In the end, of course, they lost to that late Josh Windass header.
That was out the game, that game. They should have won, really. They dominated the game. And
so Adam Phillips is on for John Russell, straight swapping central midfield. But now Barnsley have got it all to do.
Need a reaction. 2-1
to Peterborough. So Johnson Clark Harris up and running for the season. So it's rolled into the feet of Robbie Edwards to Hector Cipriano. Given back to Edwards, and now he's just holding on to the ball at the edge of the area.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, Dance and all, it's been coming, and I think the supporters have sensed it, you know. And I'm sure Neil Collins has with his changes. They're just about to make 2 more changes when the second goal went in, and you could see the anguish on his face. Who'd be a manager?
Well, you were.
Well, I would, yeah.
Neil Redfern alongside me, Ian Danter at Oakwell. What a turnaround.
Yeah.
2 in 2 minutes, Peterborough lead when they were behind. Barnsley 1, Peterborough 2, 13 to play on Talksport 2. Northampton 0, Lincoln 2. Porty O'Connor with a second for the Imps, and Stockport equalise at home to Bradford in League 2. Isaac Olafe makes it 1-1 at Edgeley Park. 2-1 here at Oakwell. Cotter having his shorts pulled by Harrison Burrows, allowed to continue by the referee, advantage play, but he couldn't get the cross in, and it's cleared away by Peterborough. But a tyre touch from Clark Harris allows Wapata to step in. Now the home side support getting behind their team, willing them on. Down the left hand side goes Cadden, the cross is deflected. Ollie Shaw picks it up, rolls it back to Kitching, back out to Cadden, tries the first time cross, it's blocked by Kioso. Sent downfield looking for Poku, who had his part to play in that second goal.
Yeah, bit more energy about Barnsley now, Dance. They've stepped it up a little bit. Should have done that 1-1, to be honest.
Well, they've got all the Peterborough players inside their own half as the ball's rolled forward down this near side. Here's Cotter coming in field, finding Herbie Kane, centre of the half, lovely ball into the area. Cadden! Good save by the goalkeeper, Bila Kapic again. Cadden really let fly with that, but it is a corner to Barnsley in front of the south stand.
I have to say, you've got to ask the question, where's Peter Kioso there? I mean, there's nobody there right back. I mean, there's acres of space there, Nicky Cadden. Great strike, another fantastic save. Add to the goalkeeping collection tonight.
Herbie Kane to take the corner. Barnsley 2-1 down, it's right under the crossbar, headed over. Wapata up at the far post, couldn't connect. Goal kick given. The Barnsley fans behind the goal think that came off a Peterborough head last of all, but Kasper Wapata so close with a header that just went over the bar. Peterborough lead 2-1 and they have a goal kick.
Yeah, am I nitpicking here, Dan? So should he have done a little bit better there, do you think? He actually got quite a bit ahead on that, didn't he? I know he's leaning away a little bit, but I think he's got to try and get that on target.
Kasper Wapata was at Southend until late last season, but he left during the financial problems that the Shrimpers were having. Went to Woking for a bit, now he's here, and he's just had a great chance for Barnsley to equalise. We're in the penalty area again. Real massive bodies down by the dead ball line, and a free kick given for a foul on Kioso, and Peterborough will be able to clear their lines. We've got 10 minutes to go, plus added time on Talksport 2. Peterborough 2-1 up here. Yeah. Neil Redfern.
Yeah, looks like they're going to make a change, Peterborough.
Yeah, Ricky J. Jones is going to be on in a second.
Yeah, I think he needs to just change it around a little bit, because they're just getting a bit of momentum now, Barnsley. Got themselves in the ascendancy. The tails are up again. Crowds behind them.
Well, Ephraim Mason-Clark was the player that came in for Ricky J. Jones tonight, but the captain's just given the armband to Harrison Burrows as Mason-Clark, because he's making way for 20-year-old Ricky J. Jones, an academy graduate who Darren Ferguson says is the quickest player I've ever managed.
Is that compared to himself, or?
Yeah, well, I think he might struggle in a 60-yard dash these days against Ricky J. Jones. We all would.
It used to be a good race, me and Darren. Nobody won.
So J. Jones is on for Peterborough United, who lead by 2-1. Claims for a push on Callum Stiles, not given by the referee, but Barnsley have it back on halfway. Here's Adam Phillips, good strength from him, and brings Barry Cotter into the game, charging down the right hand side. Harrison Burrows thought about committing to the challenge. Cotter goes to ground, gets a free kick, right hand corner of the area. Chance for Barnsley to put the ball into the danger area. 2-1 down are Barnsley.
Yeah, Barry Cotter there bought the foul, had two players on him at one point, threatened to go down the line, came inside. As soon as he got the contact, went to ground. Good play by the wing back.
Cambridge 1, Stevenage 2. Cambridge had equalised through Elias Kachunga, but Jamie Reid just put Stevenage back in front. And James Tilley scored a second for AFC Wimbledon at Colchester. They now lead 2-0, 2 on the night for the Wimbledon number 7. Here at Oakwell, Barnsley 1, Peterborough 2. 8 minutes to go. Free kick to Barnsley, right-hand corner of the Peterborough penalty area. Again, Cadden and Kane are the two players standing over it. Will it be a right-footed or a left-footed delivery? It's Cadden going for goal left-footed, hits the two-man wall. Kane retrieves it, middle of the Peterborough half. Tried to slide it down the right hand side, but a good foot in from Poku, and it ends up a Barnsley throw right in front of Neil Collins, stood at the edge of his technical area. 2-1 Posh.
Yeah, I can't help but think that's a little bit of a waste from that free kick wide. It's in a great position. He's put good ball in today, Nicky Cadden, but he's gone for goal there, and that'd have been far better served going across the keeper. Let them red shirts pile in on it.
Wrexham 4, Walsall 1 at the racecourse. Elliot Lee with the fourth for Wrexham. Excuse me. Callum Stiles rolls the ball back into his own half. Barnsley 1, Peterborough 2. 7 minutes to go. Barnsley were ahead, but 2 quick goals from Peterborough. Cipriano and Clark Harris have turned this game around, and Doncaster are 2-1 up against Mansfield now. They're back in front. Joe Ironside, once of Cambridge, of course, now applies his trade for Donny. So 2-1 at the Keepmoat. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Gateshead 4 in the National League. Marcus Dinaga and Woking 3, Rochdale 1. The Cards go further in through Rhys Grego Cox.
Just looking at Callum Stiles, and his influence on this game has diminished as it's gone on. He does look tired now. I mean, he was brilliant first half, particularly first half an hour. He was a real thorn in Peterborough's side, but
I think the first time I saw him was a few years ago. Remember that famous night when Barnsley stayed up at Brentford?
Yeah.
And denied Brentford the promotion.
Yeah, I do.
And he scored that night, and he was only a nipper back then. Here's Jay Jones getting forward for Peterborough. Cross into the box. Poku takes a touch. Oh, 3-1. Fantastic goal from Kwame Poku. Hesitation at the back by Barnsley. Seized upon by Kwame Poku. And he took his time and then arrowed a left-footed drive into the roof of the net. Nothing that Liam Roberts could do about that. And Peterborough are going to win their first 3 league games for the first time in 5 years. It is Barnsley 1, Peterborough United 3.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Kwame Poku's been the standout player or attacking player for Peterborough tonight. I mean, it's a fantastic strike. Picks the pocket of Liam Kitchen on the edge of the box, takes a touch away, and he rifles that right into the top corner of the goal. 2 goalkeepers want to save that, to be honest with you. And it's a goal that is deserved, his general players deserve, to be honest with you.
Well, he's joined from Colchester United, Kwame Poku, a couple of years back. It's his 7th Peterborough United goal.
It's a little bit harsh on Barnsley, the scoreline, I have to say, but this is a good Peterborough side. This Peterborough side are going to be roundabouts it, I think.
Well, Darren Ferguson did say, you heard it before kick-off, that he wanted his team to be more ruthless in front of goal, having scored just 1 goal apiece in their opening 2 wins. They're 3-1 up here. What have Barnsley got left? Cadden tries to win a corner off Keogh, so I'm not quite sure whether it is a corner or whether it's a throw down by the corner flag. Northampton get one back against Lincoln. Northampton 1, Lincoln 2. Lewis Apere. And Woking 3, Rochdale 2. Cairo Mitchell gets a late goal back for Dale. We've got 5 minutes of normal time to go. Barnsley 1, Peterborough 3. Long throw coming in from the far left-hand side for Barnsley. Bilokapic jumping up and down on his 6-yard line, the Peterborough keeper. In it comes. Near post, Cipriano gets a flick on. It's out to the edge of the area and volleyed over the bar by Herbie Kane from the 18-yard line. He couldn't keep it down. He half-heartedly claimed for a corner. And it's a goal kick to Peterborough United.
Yeah, I think that was a real high tariff, to be fair. Difficult one to keep down. Does his best there, Kane, to get his body over it, but it's always going to go up. And this game's just seeping away from Barnsley at this moment in time.
Callum Stiles comes off the field, and Mael de Givigny comes on. He joined in early August from Nîmes. He signed a 3-year deal, the centre-half, and he's gone into centre-back. I think he's going to allow players to move further forward. Meantime, there's a change for Peter as well. Josh Knight is going to come on for the scorer of Peterborough's 3rd goal, Kwame Poku. So I think Peterborough are going to go 3 centre-halves for these last few minutes, Neil Redfern.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, just to see the game through. I mean, they've defended really stoutly at the back, Peterborough. I think did some impressive performances. Peter Chioso from right back's been brilliant. Critchlow's looked the part. Ronnie Edwards is a real warrior at the back, and Harrison Burrows has stuck to his task manfully. It's been a good back four display.
Barnsley 1, Peterborough 3 on Talksport 2. Dallas gives chase as Barnsley hit a long ball downfield, and out comes Bila Kapic to fire it into the fans over on that east side. Mansfield have equalised for a second time at Doncaster. 2-2 at the Keep Moat now. Mansfield get a second through George Maris. And Wickham 3, Leyton Orient 2. Orient not done at Adams Park. Rul Satiriou with his second of the night. 3-2 to the Chairboys. Now here's Jordan Williams forcing the ball back to Giovinny. Just on. Tranmere 3, Harrogate 0. Kieran Morris seals the 3 points for Tranmere. Crossfield ball looking for Barry Cotter. Oh, what a lovely cushion header from Harrison Burrows back to his keeper to cut out all that pressure.
Yeah, the left back's been impressive to me tonight. I think he's looked the part. Harrison Burrows, very, very competitive. Got a great left foot. Joins in.
Well, as I say, he can play quite a few positions, Harrison Burrows. Doing a job at left back, though, for sure, for Peterborough United, who lead by 3-1 with a minute and a half of normal time to go on Talksport 2. Barnsley trying to close down the space, but Peterborough just holding on to the ball, and it's Edwards. Lovely little cushion pass from Cipriano for Randall. Now on the right hand side is Kioso. Randall will bring the ball under his spell once again and just clip it back to the halfway line.
He's a good little player, Randall. Been outstanding tonight. In the quality moments when Peter have looked good, he's been in the centre of it.
Yeah, talented boy, sort of joined from Exeter a couple of years ago. Now chip downfield for Johnson Clark Harris to really do well and hold on to the ball. Barrow equalised late on at Accrington Stanley, 1-1. Emile Akua making it 1-1 at the Wham Stadium. Here is Ricky J. Jones for Peterborough, getting down to the byline left hand side. Gets the cross in, but it's a comfortable claim at the far post for Liam Roberts. But Barnsley are running out of time here. 30 seconds of normal time to go, and they need 2 goals just to earn a point. Ball's on halfway with Jordan Williams, who can motor forward for the Tykes. Dallas and Shaw ahead of him. Cotter on the right wing receives the ball now. Whips a deep cross into the far post. Headed away by Kioso. Brought down by Cadden. Knocks it down to Adam Phillips. Urged to shoot. It deflected into the area off a Peterborough player, but he managed to get it clear. Phillips gives it back out to the left hand side. We're into 7 minutes of minimum added time. 7 minutes for Peterborough to hold on to this 2-goal advantage.
Yeah,
a lot of substitutions in that 7 minutes.
Yeah,
I assume
there is. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at Johnson Clark Harris, and he looks like he's run his race, to be honest with you. They're not getting much out of the big fella now.
Here's Andrew Dallas laying the ball off to the edge of the area for Herbie Kane, but his left foot shot goes way over the bar, and it's a goal kick to Peterborough. Derby get a late goal back. Derby 1, Oxford 2. Martin Waghorn back at the club. 11,789 here at Barnsley. A couple of thousand down on their opening day 7-0 thrashing of Port Vale. And you said it before kick-off, they might be thinking they're going to get that every week. Not tonight, Neil Redfern.
Well, no, but they've seen goals, but not in the right end. But got to give Peterborough credit. They've been absolutely clinical second half.
So goal kick for Peterborough. We're in the first minute of a minimum 7 that have been added on here on Talksport 2. 3-1 to Darren Ferguson's men. Barnsley have it back. Now here's Jordan Williams for Barnsley, steaming forward once again over the halfway line. Kept in play by Cotter. Neat skill just to drift in field away from 2 challenges. Fires it back to the centre circle and Wapata. Blackpool and Port Vale have drawn 0-0. That's full time at Bloomfield Road. Williams for Barnsley wins a corner of Harrison Burrows. Make that 9 corners for the Tykes. Desperate to get back within a goal of Peterborough with a minute and a half of stoppage time gone.
Yeah, they've got to try and make the most of these set players now. I mean, they've got great ball in all evening, but got to try and make one count if they can.
It's Nicky Cadden with a left-footed delivery right under the crossbar, deep to the far post. Good defensive header from Cipriano. A couple of Barnsley players collide with each other, and away comes Robbie Edwards on the counter-attack for Peterborough. Gets his head up. Jay Jones is pulled away to this near side of the left. Harrison Burrows is up there. Tries to backheel the ball for a teammate, but it doesn't come off for him. And here come Barnsley trying to respond. It's on halfway. Herbie Kane has Cotter to his right-hand side. On the near side to us. Cotter. Early cross deflected up in the air off Josh Knight. And Peterborough win it back, and Ricky J. Jones lays it off to Archie Collins. Neat pirouette from Collins, and now Josh Knight drives down the left-hand side, wants a free kick for Andrew Dallas colliding with him. Referee says no free kick, play on. Barnsley have it back. Herbie Kane, the number 8 for the Tykes. Everyone in Peterborough back behind the ball.
Yeah, they've reset into that 5 at the back as well, like you said, Dance, making it really difficult for Barnsley now in any area of the pitch.
Cannon whips in across for the left-hand side. Kept in play by Ollie Shaw, but he just couldn't control it and keep Barnsley in possession. Ball up to halfway, intercepted by Wapata. Now Cadden again, down the left-hand side. The cross this time is over the head of Dallas. Cotter won't get there, but Burrows felt he had to touch it behind again for another Barnsley corner. This one at the south stand end. It's 3-1 to Peterborough.
Yeah, well, they're not going to die wanting, are they, Barnsley? They're having a go right to the death. Got to give them full credit for that. I mean, both sides have played their part in such an entertaining game tonight. A little bit harsh on Barnsley, the scoreline, but Peterborough have been ruthless tonight.
Here comes Cadden with the corner, headed away by Kioso to the edge of the area. Kept alive briefly by Burrows. It's lobbed back into the box by Williams, and the goalkeeper comes flying out to the edge of the box, Bilakapic, and holds on to the ball. He almost dropped it, but he caught it at the second attempt, and it remains Barnsley 1, Peterborough 3, and we've got 3 minutes of the minimum 7 left to go.
Yeah, good goalkeeping, to be fair. Came positive. Well, spilled it a little bit, but got on the next one. Just what his team needed.
So the Aussie, Bilakapic, on the winning side. We don't particularly want the Aussies to be on the winning side tomorrow. England, Australia in the Women's World Cup semi-final. Our coverage starts at 10:30 a.m. here tomorrow morning. Kick-off at 11 o'clock. And Darren Ferguson's now making 2 further changes. He's bringing on David Ajiboye and Ryan de Havilland for these last few minutes. And Joel Randall and Archie Collins are the 2 players being withdrawn.
Yeah, been outstanding.
You were a fan of Joel Randall tonight, weren't you?
Yeah, been outstanding, Joel Randall. I mean, very, very good with the ball at his feet. Sees things, sees a pass. He's a real threat. And I think when he's playing well, when Peterborough are going forward, they'll look a menace.
Stevenage have kept their 100% record up, and in the end ended Cambridge's 100% record. 2-1 they win at the Abbey. Wrexham have beaten Walsall 4-2. Gillingham have won again at Sutton. They've kept their 100% record going in the league at the start of the season by winning at Gander Green Lane. 3-1 here to Peterborough, another team who are going to have maximum points return from their first 3 fixtures in this tight, competitive League One. And there's been no shortage of good passing football that we've seen and we brought to you tonight on Talksport 2, Neil Redfern.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think it's been a credit to the division. You know, both sides have played some good stuff. It's been played at a real tempo, white hot at times, but it's been played in good spirit. Been no malice in the game. Both sides competing. It's Peterborough that's going to come out with the points at this moment in time.
Ball fired up to halfway as Peterborough try and extend their lead still further, maybe, but ball's been given up. And here's Andrew Dallas on halfway. Heavy touch from Adam Phillips, and here's Ricky J. Jones sprinting down the inside left channel for Peterborough. Gets into the box, screws it across the face of goal, and Roberts claimed it well. Clark Harris was lurking, and we've got now, well, we're into the last minute of the minimum 7. There might be a bit more to play because there were those 2 substitutions just made by Darren Ferguson. 3-1 Peterborough, closing in on victory, the Posh, to make it a much sweeter journey for those fans to our left as they head back down the A1. Now, de Givigny over halfway line for Barnsley. Wapata out to Nicky Cadden, left hand side. Gives it back to Liam Kitching, the captain. Herbie Kane.
Just happy to sit behind the ball now, Peterborough.
Again, everybody behind it in Peterborough blue. Cotter on this near side, hugging the right-hand touchline, being watched all the way by Harrison Burrows. Darts in field, clips the left-footed ball into the box, and Critchlow and Kioso has got time to bring it down and then fire it downfield. Swindon look to have won it at Forest Green in stoppage time. Fraser Blake Tracy makes it Forest Green 1, Swindon 2. We played the 7 minutes of minimum stoppage time. It's down to referee Backhouse as to how much more we had. He's having a look at his watch as Barnsley have possession down the left-hand side, but Cadden can't keep it in play. It's a Peterborough throw. Bristol Rovers look to have won it at Charlton. Luke McCormick with a 98th minute goal at the Valley. Charlton 1, Bristol Rovers 2. Eastleigh equalise against Barnet. A late goal there, 3-3 at the Silver Lake in the National League. Ball thrown in by Peterborough, and the whistle goes, and Peterborough have 3 victories in 3 league games at the start of the season for the first time since 2018, and they came from behind to do it. It was goalless at half-time. Barry Cotter had fired Barnsley in front early in the second half, but then suddenly there was an equaliser from Hector Cipriano to make it 1-1. Not long after, Johnson Clark-Harris notched his first of the campaign, poking home from right in front of goal after good work from Kwame Poku, and then Poku himself got on the score sheet, drilling home a fierce left-footed shot after hesitation in the Barnsley defence. And so Darren Ferguson and Peterborough will go back down the A1, all 3 points safely tucked away. Are they fully deserved, Neil Redfern?
Yeah, I think so, on the evidence of that. You know, I feel for Barnsley a little bit because they've given absolutely everything tonight. You just had a real lapse down that left-hand side. Liam Kitchen, Nicky Cadden for the goals. You know, when you give people like Kwame Poku that sort of space and that sort of room, and ably backed up by Peter Kioso, they were strong down that side, Peterborough, and a lot of their menacing attacks came from there. They fully deserve this victory tonight. Maybe not 3-1, but deserve to win without a shadow of a doubt.
How much of this is a classic case of a manager in Neil Collins probably learning more about his players tonight than he would have done in a 7-0 win over Port Vale here?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, these sides played well tonight. They'll play worse than that and win. You know, it's just one of them games, and he's got to give them the right messages. You know, some of the football were brilliant, created some good chances, got in some good areas. You know, a little bit concerned with that back line at times, look a little bit vulnerable down that left-hand side. You need to be wary of that, but what a cracking game of football as well, both teams.
Well, you'd be close if you're nominating a man of the match. The 2 goalkeepers would be up there in the running, wouldn't they?
Well, you've got to be thinking that. Yeah, I mean, they've been absolutely outstanding, but I mean, for me, Kwame Poku's different class, and it's been the difference between the 2 sides, to be honest with you, because when you're looking for somebody with a little bit of creative ability to open the opposition up, he had it.
Neil, it's been a pleasure being with you once again.
And you, mate.
Neil Redfern with us, former Barnsley stalwart who's watched his team lose here tonight against a rejuvenated Peterborough United. No hangover from that playoff heartache last season. Darren Ferguson's got them firing at the start of the season. They've gone 3 from 3 in League One at the start of the campaign. Coming next on Talksport 2 is the Cricket Collective with Neil Manthorpe and Steve Harmison. But we'll leave you with Peterborough, one of the 100%ers in League One at the start of the campaign. They've beaten Barnsley here at Oakwell by 3-1 live on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2.